You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1230. 1230 Chapter 291 Supersensitive Jade, Monthly Subscription, 2. There were many people in the main hall at the moment. The Bright Heart Hall claimed that it was for the sun and the moon to retire. In fact, over the years, there were many elderly people who came to retire as well. There weren't many other things in the Great Ming Mansion, but there were many elderly people. There weren't just one or two people like Jin Sheng and the others, there were at least 100 of them. These people had lived for hundreds of years and had made great achievements in their respective fields. Over the years, these elders gradually withdrew from the stage and went behind the scenes. They entered the Bright Heart Hall to retire. No one suspected anything. They were indeed old, and some of them were nearing the end of their lives. The Daming Manor had spent countless resources on these elders to prolong their lives and maintain their vitality. Some of the elders that the outside world thought had already died were still alive. They might not be strong, but Zhu Tiandao had always taken them seriously. This was the true treasure of the Daming Manor. He and Niu Baidao entered the main hall, and an old woman walked over. Her teeth had already fallen off. She clearly had the aura of a sun-moon tier cultivator, but she was already extremely old. Sun-moon tier cultivators did not only live for such a short period of time. However, these people would often try out some things in order to develop something. Injuries were common, and their lifespans were constantly decreasing. When Zhu Tiandao saw the old woman, he quickly bowed. Seeing that the old woman's teeth had fallen out, he said sorrowfully, "Teacher Hu. It's better to rest a little more." "It's fine." The old woman didn't say much. She smiled and waved her hand, "Don't talk so much. After all these years, we've finally managed to get this thing out. We're just about to start debugging it. Come and see the effect." Zhu Tiandao sighed and walked forward with her. When they reached the end of the hall, a huge mirror appeared in front of them. At this moment, there were many people gathered here. The mirror was very big, and people were doing final debugging from all directions. The old woman surnamed Hu grinned, revealing a few teeth that had fallen out. With a bright smile, she said, "Little Zhu, we've spent too much time and money on this thing. We don't know what the effect will be. We don't even know if it can fool Invincible. However, it shouldn't be a problem to fool the sun and moon." Then, he quickly said, "Different colors represent different levels. You can choose to show it and choose to filter it out. For example, if you only use mountains and seas as the target, it will only show the existence of mountains and seas. We use red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple as the base. Kaiyuan, Qianjun, Wanshi, soaring in the sky, Lingyun, mountains and seas, sun and moon, these 7 levels show 7 colors. The darker the color, the stronger the power." The old woman introduced, with a bright smile, she said, "This sensing jade uses yuan qi and willpower as the burning energy source. Opening it once consumes a lot of energy, but like the 100-path pavilion, it will automatically absorb some of the energy wandering in the void. However, after opening it, in the long run, it will radiate through the entire Tiandu mansion, starting from at least 1,000,000 merit points a year." Zhu Tiandao nodded. "It's still alright. Although the consumption is great, the Daming Manor can hold on. Once this thing is established, the Tiandu Manor will be impregnable." With that, Zhu Tiandao quickly asked, "Can we lock onto a certain person and conduct a probe?" "Yes, but it's easy to be sensed by others. It's best not to do so." As the old woman spoke, she coughed and said, "Everyone, how's the debugging going?" "There's no problem with position 1. There's no problem with position 2. One by one, the elders quickly reported. The old woman smiled. "Very good, then let's open it and try. Let's radiate the area within the academy and see if old Wang and the rest can sense it." Then let's give it a try. The elders all laughed. The surface of the mirror trembled as large amounts of yuan qi liquid were burned and a large amount of willpower was injected. On the mirror, a beam of light flashed and passed through everyone. A pillar of light rose. Thankfully, there was an invincible array set up outside. Otherwise, the activation would have caused too much of a commotion. Zhu Tiandao only felt something pass through his body. It was a very subtle feeling. It flashed and disappeared in the blink of an eye. The light reached the outside of the hall and disappeared in the blink of an eye. At that moment, spots of light began to appear on the mirror. They began to spread. In the blink of an eye, the entire academy was included. And at this moment, Su Yu, who was still extracting the heaven yuan qi. In the Sea of Will, the Calamity Divine text trembled slightly. Opening his eyes, he looked around suspiciously. What was going on? He looked around and the sensing jade also sensed it. There was nothing wrong. The Calamity Divine text is about to advance. Su Yu had a trace of doubt. It shouldn't be so fast. If he advanced any further, he would be at rank 3. Whatever. In a few more hours, he would be able to finish extracting it. Su Yu didn't bother about it anymore. At the same time, in the Beast Tamer Academy, the silly fatty who was eating bamboo turned his head and looked around. His black eyes revealed a trace of doubt. Who was the one who peeked at me just now? How shameless. Why was he peeking at me? Did I sense wrongly? Scratching his head, he didn't think too much of it and continued eating. Who knew which fellow it was? Could it be that the great sage king had returned? At this moment, those who were able to sense danger and those who were powerful had a slight reaction within the academy. However, it was too weak, and it wasn't too obvious. It was as though someone had unintentionally probed the surroundings and disappeared in a flash. In the underground main hall of the Bright Heart Hall. At this moment, specks of light appeared on the surface of the mirror. There were 7 colors. On the surface of the mirror, there was a 3-dimensional pattern. The Daming Civilization Academy. It was exactly the same as the Daming Civilization Academy. It was just that no one existed. The existence of humans had been replaced by specks of light. Zhu Tiandao didn't care about those. He immediately looked at the purple specks of light in the mirror. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1231. 1231 Chapter 291 Super Induction Jade, 3. Purple represented the sun and moon. At this moment, there were 7 purple dots of light in the Great Hall of the Bright Heart Hall. They represented 7 suns and moons. He, Niu Bai Dao, and 5 sun and moon realm elders. A powerful force. And there were 3 purple dots of light in the academy at this moment. It was terrifying. This is Old Wang. Zhu Tiandao glanced at one of the light spots. That was the position of Vice Manor Head Wang. The other 2 purple light spots were in the Beast Tamer Academy. After taking a look, the old woman frowned and asked, Manor Head, is this an iron-eating beast? Zhu Tiandao nodded. Its cultivation level is at the peak of the mountain and sea realm, and its physical body is at the sun and moon realm. It might be considered as the sun and moon realm. The effect is not bad. This judgment is reasonable. This fellow can be considered as the sun and moon realm. Since its body's defense was at the sun and moon realm, it could actually be considered as the sun and moon realm. The old woman said with a smile, this sensing jade is based on energy undulations, willpower undulations, yuan qi undulations. It is used to investigate in a comprehensive way to prevent any information from being missed and causing some trouble. Everyone looked towards the last light spot. The expressions of the few of them were very strange. Zhu Tiandao and Niu Bai Dao also looked at each other, their expressions extremely strange. This is Old Hu. Zhu Tiandao wasn't too sure. This seemed to be the territory of the Polytheistic College, but the Polytheistic College didn't have any mountain and sea realm light spots. The only light spot was at the sun and moon realm. If this wasn't Hu Xiansheng, then who was it? Niu Baidao was also surprised. Old Hu is displaying the purple light of the sun and moon. Although this purple light is weak, this guy is at the 7th level of the mountain and sea realm. He couldn't even tell. The purple light of the sun and moon was weak. It was roughly equivalent to the 1st or 2nd level. But this guy was the mountain and sea realm. Zhu Tiandao frowned and quickly said, "Old Niu, go and take a look." If Old Hu wasn't killed by someone, could it be that the blue sky replaced him? Impossible. Niu Baidao couldn't help but laugh. If it's really the blue sky, then the purple light is rich. Forget it, I'll go and take a look. Niu Baidao's figure flashed and disappeared. Soon, at the Multidivine Literature Academy. In the dean's office. Hu Xiansheng was drawing something out of boredom. He turned his head to look and saw Niu Baidao appear. Hu Xiansheng raised his eyebrows and said, "Old Niu, did you investigate me just now?" Niu Baidao was too lazy to talk nonsense and directly reached out his hand to grab at him. Just as he grabbed at him, there was a PFFFT sound and nothing was caught. Space moved and a wave of space fluctuation came from his head. The sound of glass breaking was heard. Niu Baidao's willpower shook and the space shook non-stop. With a bang, Hu Xiansheng appeared a few meters away. He frowned and looked at him. "Old Niu, what are you doing?" He looked at Niu Bendao warily. "This guy was here to pick a fight today." Niu Bendao smiled brightly. "Old Hu, do you think you can win in a one-on-one fight with the sun and moon?" Bulsh *T, how can I win, lying down? Niu Bendao said with a smile, "Forget it. But I have to say, your space travel is really amazing. Not only is it a capital to save your life, but I also think its lethality is not weak. You really know how to pretend." "Pretend what?" Hu Xiansheng was speechless. In the next moment, Niu Baidao disappeared. F***CK. Hu Xiansheng cursed. What the F***CK? Why did he come to find trouble out of the blue? Was the NIU guy too old and senile? In the hall. In the next moment, Niu Baidao returned and said with a smile, "It's Old Hu. If Blue Sky could use that space travel skill, he would be invincible." Zhu Tiandao also smiled. "Interesting, the evaluation from the induction jade is sun and moon. In that case, if there's any trouble in the future, it shouldn't be a problem to leave a sun and moon as his opponent, right?" "No problem." Niu Baidao laughed. "This guy can withstand it." The few of them laughed. The strength of the sun and moon realm was somewhat beyond their expectations. For the 7th layer of the mountain and sea realm to be on par with the sun and moon realm, Hu Xiansheng was indeed good at acting. However, it was normal for him to have many divine inscriptions. Zhu Tiandao laughed. "Let's not talk about him. Apart from him, we still have 13 elders of the mountain and sea pavilion. Old Niu, come and see how many mountain and sea realm there are in the academy." Blue. Mountain and sea. Niu Baidao looked over with a strange expression. There were really quite a number of them. Out of the 13 elders of the mountain and sea pavilion, 2 had gone to station troops. 1 had gone to tour the mountains and rivers. Logically speaking, there should still be 10 elders of the mountain and sea pavilion in the academy. There were 2 in the hall, and there were only 8 outside. Hu Xiansheng wasn't counted. But at this moment, there were a total of 15 blue light spots outside. 7 more came out. "These 3 are the 3 great demons," Niu Baidao said. He pointed at the waters near Yuexin Island and said, "These are Old Turtle and his first wife. Old Turtle's blue color is turning purple, and his first wife has reached the 7th layer of the mountain and sea realm. I didn't really care. 5 of them were great demons. Niu Baidao quickly checked the other 2 spots of light. It was a multi-divine literature academy. He hadn't seen it just now, so he was a little surprised. Is this the defensive formation of the Primordial Spirit Research Institute? It hasn't been noticed, right? It shouldn't be. The old woman explained that defensive formation is only at the Sun-Moon realm. It shouldn't have been noticed. This blue color is very weak, it should be Wenzhong. Zhu Tiandao nodded. It should be him, but it's hard to say. He pointed at another light spot. Primordial Spirit Research Institute, here, look, there's a green light spot, very dense. Is this the 9th level of Lingyun? Also, there are 3 green light spots here. Zhu Tiandao's gaze was strange as he said, a mountain and sea realm expert and 4 Lingyun realm experts. Where did they get 4 Lingyun realm experts? You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1232. 1232 Chapter 291, Super Induction Jade, Monthly Subscription, 4. Shui Ren and Shadow are Lingyun, Wenzhong is considered weak, and there are 2 other Lingyun. The few of them looked at each other, and Niu Baidao suddenly said, that little hairy ball. Zhu Tiandao nodded. It's true that it entered Lingyun, but there are 2 here. One of them probably gave Lingyun a level 9 judgment, and the other one gave Lingyun a level 7 judgment. Tell me, which one is the little hairy ball? Niu Bendao hesitated. The 9th level of Lingyun. That thing is a little special, but it's actually hard to judge its level. If it's scanned, it's very likely to be judged to be at the 9th level. What about the 7th level? The 2 of them looked at each other. It couldn't be Su Yu, right? The Primordial Spirit Research Institute now had a few elders in the sky realm showing it. The recuperating Wulon also showed it. The Swan Ni and the Diamond Mountain Ox at the door also showed it, but there was an additional Lingyun light spot. Su Yu. 7th level Lingyun. The Sensory Jade gave a judgment of 7th level Lingyun. Why? Based on what? They still believed a judgment of 4th or 5th level Lingyun given to Su Yu, but 7th level, wasn't that too high? Niu Baidao was just about to speak when the old woman beside him said, Mansion Master, let's not talk about this anymore. What we need to talk about now is that his light spot and this area are all abnormal. The old woman pointed at Su Yu's light spot and said, if this is Su Yu, I don't know what this guy is doing right now. I feel like the threat of the mountains and seas is about to appear on his side. The entire area was changing from green to blue. It was not an individual, but an area. Zhu Tiandao asked curiously, what does this mean? The old woman explained, it means that this area is threatened by Ling Yun's transformation of the mountains and seas. It could be that he is doing some sort of research and has suddenly erupted with some kind of power. His power is expanding. He's studying the blood essence, right? This kid can't be extracting the blood essence of a Sun-Moon realm god, right? Zhu Tiandao wasn't too sure, but he knew that Su Yu had obtained a Sun-Moon realm god from the Xia family. Could it be that this kid dared to extract it now? After looking at it for a while, he didn't look at it again. Now, he could only be curious. Was Su Yu really at the 7th level of Lingyun realm? That was impossible. Or was it that he had swallowed the blood essence and was now unleashing the strength of the Lingyun realm? He did not look at Su Yu anymore. He quickly turned his gaze to the last blue light spot. It was also the last mountain and sea realm. Who was this? He looked at Niu Baidao. Niu Baidao frowned and said, over here. There are no elders of the mountain and sea pavilion here. This is the student area. Where did the mountain and sea realm come from? The 2 looked at each other in surprise. They caught a big fish in the first test. The Shanghai realm was not a small fish. Are you sure? I'm not sure. Why don't we go and take a look together? Niu Baidao stroked his beard and said, how about we go and take a look together? I don't remember there being a mountain and sea here. Could it be that a great demon in the academy broke through and I didn't care? You didn't care about breaking through to the mountains and seas. Didn't I go out a while ago? The two of them exchanged a few words and quickly disappeared at the same time. A moment later, the two of them appeared in a dormitory area. At this moment, a young student was seriously reading a book. He seemed to have noticed something and turned his head to look outside. In the next moment, his heart trembled. He hurriedly stood up and said, "Greetings, Manor Head, greetings, Manor Head." Niu Baidao sized him up from head to toe. After a long while, he rubbed his chin and frowned, "I didn't see anything." Manor Head, when did our standards become so bad? Zhu Tiandao ignored him and sized him up from head to toe. After a long while, he said, "If we really look closely, there's something strange about it. I was wrong. I thought that only the transformation faculty would be able to hide from my eyes. In the end, there's no need for the transformation faculty. This fellow should have a very special divine script." The moment these words left his mouth, the young student's expression changed, and he hurriedly said, "Manor Head, I." Zhu Tiandao waved his hand and said, "Be quiet. I'm not Xiaolongu, and I'll kill anyone I see. You sure are good, Mountain Sea Realm. You managed to hide it from me and old Niu. Although we didn't have much contact, you managed to hide it from us. You're pretty good." The young student's expression changed drastically. "Don't worry, I didn't say I wanted to kill you. Your ability is not bad." Zhu Tiandao sighed and laughed. "Tell me, where is it from? Is it the 10,000 tribe religion or something?" The young student's expression changed again. After a long while, he said sullenly, "Lord, don't misunderstand, I have no bad intentions. I'm not a disciple of the 10,000 tribe religion. I come from the Chamber of Commerce." Zhu Tiandao understood. "It's you, Thousand Hands Bandit Su Bin. Going to the Chamber of Commerce, you sure have guts." Zhu Tiandao laughed. "You're a capable person. You actually hid here." The Daming Civilization Academy lost 3 important research results. It was all your doing, wasn't it? The religion of the myriad races has taken the blame for you. You, this fellow, are a magnificent mountain and sea, stealing from all directions. You're really good." The young student laughed dryly and did not say a word. Zhu Tiandao's expression turned cold. "You're still here this time. Do you want to steal something, or do you want to do something else?" "No." As Su Bin spoke, he felt an immense pressure and his expression changed. He hurriedly said, that I accepted a small mission to steal Su Yu's soon-to-be popularized primordial spirit enlightenment technique or some other technique. Really, I haven't even done it yet. I just randomly accepted a mission and the reward was very high. I gave a reward of 200,000 contribution points, which was released by the several great sects of the primitive god sect. He immediately said, "Manor Head, I surrender. I only steal and don't kill. I spend money to buy my life. 1 million merit points." Seeing that Zhu Tiandao's face was still as dark as ever, he hurriedly said, 3 million merit points. He hurriedly said, 3 million merit points, all of my assets. A lifetime's worth of savings. I serve the Daming Manor, my lord. There's no place in the world that I can't go. Cough cough, misunderstanding. My lord, that's not what I meant. What I meant was that I'm very useful. If you go to the Chamber of Commerce, you're either a traitor to the human race, or you're just a peddler who buys and sells things that are difficult for everyone to trade. Zhu Tiandao couldn't be bothered to say anything. He stretched out his hand and grabbed at him. A 9th-level Sun-Moon Realm cultivator catching a 1st or 2nd-level Mountain and Sea Realm cultivator was too easy. This Su Bin didn't resist either. He had a helpless look on his face. He quickly said, "My lord, I really surrender." "Does Sir have anything that you want to steal?" "No, it's not that." "Is there anything that you need?" "I am too familiar with this line of work." "Sir wants the Great Xia Manor's heaven-splitting blade and the Great Zhou Manor's civilization sword. I will also get them for Sir. If it doesn't work." Zhu Tiandao could not be bothered to reply. With a bang, he smashed him until he was dizzy. He ignored him and looked at Niu Baidao. He smiled and said, "I didn't find Lan Tian, but I did catch Su Bin. It's an unexpected harvest. Do you think Lan Tian is in the academy or not? It's hard to say. He might still be in the Great Xia Manor." Niu Baidao also smiled. "This thing is really useful. Su Bin has been discovered and caught. Even if this fellow's hiding ability isn't as good as Lan Tian's, he's still a headache for the various manors. He actually died here. The effect was very good. The super-sensing jade had expended countless resources. Several Sun-Moon tier and a few Earth-rank forgers had spent so much time, but the thing that they had forged wasn't in vain. Su Bin was a well-known fellow in the various manors. Just as he said, he did not kill people, but stole things. Shanghai realm stealing. Of course, it was not an ordinary thing. Zhu Tiandao smiled, "This fellow is very useful. He knows many secrets. More than 10 years ago, he even stole from a Seeker realm expert. Catching him is a huge profit." Both of them laughed. This guy had stolen too many things. His wealth was frighteningly rich. Making money was secondary. Through him, they might discover more things. After saying that, Zhu Tiandao quickly said, "The super-sensing jade is really useful." It quickly spread to the Tiandu mansion. "Right now, I'm even more curious about this kid, Su Yu. Does this guy really have the strength of a 7th-level Ling Yun?" Shaking his head, Niu Bidao said uncertainly, "It's hard to say. Last time, he reached the 49th level. If he really is a weak 7th-level Ling Yun, it's also possible. Let's see how the sensing jade sets the criteria. Let's go back and take a look." As Zhu Tiandao said that, his eyes narrowed. "Let's not talk about this anymore. Once the sensing jade covers the Tianda mansion, it will definitely catch a bunch of worms. Old Niu, we might have something to do next. Maybe we can catch some big fish." The effect was too good. With the existence of this thing, the defense system of the Daming Mansion had reached its peak. As for Zhu Tiandao, he narrowed his eyes and smiled, "At this moment, we are lacking an opportunity to fish all the fellows out at once. I think Su Yu is about to cast his body. Why don't we talk to him, and take this opportunity to fish once? We might be able to catch a big fish. It's difficult in the academy." Zhu Tiandao smiled and said, "I know, Su Yu can leave the academy." The discussion was not a big issue, and it was also for his safety. Sweeping all the guys out in one go, and it would be best to sweep out the blue sky as well. This guy is the most troublesome. Niu Baidao nodded, and his heart was also filled with joy. Daming Manor's defense system would be perfected, and the monitoring system would be perfected. It would be possible to get rid of some of the guys. Zhu Tiandao smiled. He was in a good mood. After getting rid of some of these guys, the next step would be easier. And Su Yu's body might be an opportunity. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1233. 1233 Chapter 292 True and False. Su Yu did not know that the super-induction jade had been made. It was not until the night of the 21st that he finished extracting the blood essence. When he came out of the cultivation room, Suyu was already feeling dizzy. By consuming the blood essence and using the body forging technique, he was constantly in an explosive state. Even though he was full of energy and had been in an explosive state for a few days, Suyu was still a little dispirited. Just as he exited the cultivation room, Wu Lan shouted, "Suyu, Manor Head Nyo wants you to come out of seclusion and look for him." "All right." Manor Head Nyo was looking for him. Why? With doubt, although Suyu was extremely tired, he still walked out of the research institute. Yueshin Island. Suyu once again rode on the big turtle, crossed the lake, and entered the island. He had just arrived on the island. He knew why Manor Head was looking for him. 3 great demons. At this moment, the 3 one-eyed great demons quickly appeared. The 3 great demons stood in front of him and stared at him with some hidden bitterness. So scared. In this godforsaken place, Manor Head Nyo and Zhu Tiandao seemed to be torturing people for the past few days. Their screams were incessant. It was too terrifying. It was hell on earth. 3 seniors. Suyu was a little embarrassed. He had forgotten about these 3. Sorry. I just happened to run into some important research that I have to deal with these few days. So, I came to pick you up immediately to welcome you. There's no need. The one-eyed man's voice was faint. At this moment, his third eye was tightly shut. Both of his eyes were full of black pupils. There was no Bai-Ren in them. He looked a little scary. "Suyu, your Grandmaster Hong Tan and you both promised us that after the matter was successful, you would let us return to the heavenly battlefield. Do you still keep your word?" Suyu smiled and said, "Of course. If the seniors leave now, I'll immediately send someone to send you off. I'll keep my word. However, I'll be frank. You guys left. That day, you killed many single Divine One experts. This isn't the main point. The main point is that you saw many things that others didn't. Those few fellows might have an invincible instigator behind them, they might be able to capture a few seniors." As soon as these words came out, Zhu Shan said sullenly, "You mean, if we leave, we'll die without a doubt." "Right." Suyu said bluntly, "The probability is so high. The killing humans still have some fear. Killing the monsters that have returned to the heavenly battlefield won't cause any trouble, unless you guys can quickly escape to a place where no one can find you." Blood Moon said coldly, "Are you sure you can defeat us?" Suyu said calmly, "There's no need for that. Although the 3 seniors are at the Mountain Sea Realm, to be honest, the Mountain Sea Realm is indeed strong, but it won't be of much help to me right now. If the 3 seniors want to leave, I'll ask Manor Head Zhu to help and send you all away to return to the Grand Heavens battlefield." The moment these words were said, in the courtyard, someone laughed and said, "Suyu is right. If the 3 of you want to leave, it's simple. Coincidentally, there's a team of Heavenly Dao soldiers going to the Grand Heavens battlefield next month, and it just so happens that I'll be leaving with the 3 of you. The Mountain Sea Realm is strong, but it's just that." Zhu Tiandao's voice. Suyu didn't say much and quickly said, "Seniors, think about it. If you want to stay, you can follow Senior Old Turtle's treatment. I won't restrict you, but if you want to leave, I won't stop you." The 3 great demons didn't say anything. Suyu didn't say anything and quickly walked into the courtyard. Zhu Tiandao and Niu Bendao were drinking tea when a young woman appeared beside them, pouring tea for the 2 of them. Zhu Tiandao had a playful look on his face. After waiting for Suyu to greet him and sit down, Zhu Tiandao smiled and said, "Suyu, looking at how exhausted you are, have you done anything bad in the past few days?" Suyu was speechless. "What have I done?" "Manor Head, I've been in closed-door cultivation for the past few days." "Closed-door cultivation to such an extent?" Zhu Tiandao chuckled and said, Don't you know the same principle? If you want to work, you have to pair up men and women to be able to work without being tired. After making fun of him, he pointed at the young woman beside him and said, "This is little Sue. Is she good looking? If she is, you can take her back and raise her. That little girl of yours won't be jealous, right?" Suyu was speechless and lowered his head to drink tea. Boring. Manor head Zhu was really boring sometimes. As for the woman beside him, she was rather good-looking. Unfortunately, Suyu was completely uninterested. Not only was he uninterested, he even felt a slight throb. The Calamity Divine text flickered slightly. What was going on? In the past few days, the Calamity word had been broken, and it kept flashing. Just as he was thinking, the young woman walked to his side and said gently, "Teacher Su, why do you have to keep others at 1,000 miles away?" The woman's hand gently rested on Suyu's shoulder. Suyu's expression suddenly changed, and in the next moment, there was a crisp sound. The little furball flashed. Suyu's chi and blood exploded. With a rumble, his yuan aperture merged as one and he threw a punch. Rumble. The woman let out a blood-curdling scream. A divine symbol suddenly appeared, with a hole missing. She could have avoided being hit by Suyu's punch. However, the instant the divine symbol was bitten open, a hammer came down at the same time, causing the woman to tremble slightly. Following closely behind, Suyu threw a punch, the slow divine script exploded, instantly hitting the other party. With a bang, the woman retreated a few meters, her face filled with shock. Suyu did not attack again, instantly grabbing the little furball and stuffing it into his embrace. Looking at this person, then looking at Zhu Tiandao and the other two, he frowned and said, "This senior is Shanghai. Manor head, what are you doing?" Zhu Tiandao smiled and pressed his hand, "Sit down and chat." After saying that, he looked at the woman and frowned. "Trash. Your reputation is not small. Suyu is just cultivating his strength. You even went to so much trouble to steal Suyu. Are you sure you are the Thousand Hands Bandit?" You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1234. 1234 Chapter 292 True and False, 2. What a waste. That woman had a strange expression on her face. Was this self-cultivation? Are you King kidding me? Too sharp. So sharp that it was terrifying. Forget it, his own secret divine script was actually bitten by something in an instant. D***, what was that? He was the mountain and sea divine script. In the blink of an eye, a small part of it was bitten off, although it wasn't too serious. What surprised him even more was that Suyu's divine skill caused his willpower to waver slightly. He turned around and was struck by Suyu's punch. At this moment, his shoulder started to turn black rapidly and even started to corrode. He was a mountain and sea realm cultivator. Of course, he didn't dare to fight back at all. However, even if he didn't fight back, he wouldn't be able to fight back so strongly against Ling Yun, right? Suyu glanced at that woman and frowned slightly. The Calamity divine text was jumping again. Before he could react, little Hairy Ball reacted first. There was a divine text attached to him. From little Hairy Ball's point of view, it was here to snatch his food. Little Hairy Ball didn't hold back at all. He gathered all his strength and gave the other party a bite of the divine text. The other party was the mountain and sea realm. The little furball had just entered Ling Yun and was unable to bite down on the divine text without making a sound. However, the divine text that it bit down on was a little incomplete, which allowed Suyu to quickly react. Niu Baidao coughed lightly, he smiled and said, "Don't mind it. Let's test his abilities and see how good you are." This fellow swore that under the mountain and sea realm, even if he stole the heart, he wouldn't be able to discover it. This is a slap in the face. Steal his heart. Su Yu's gaze turned cold. On the other side, Su Bin was helpless and hurriedly said, "No, I just wanted to show off my strength and steal your storage ring. In the end, before I could touch it, I was bitten by divine runes." Depressed. He had missed. He had actually missed on a recuperation. Su Yu turned his head to look at him and frowned slightly. Who was this person? Someone from Zhu Tiandao? It didn't seem like it. Zhu Tiandao smiled and said, "I just caught that guy. He's a famous thief in the human realm. He dares to steal anything. Oh right, he's a man. Forget it. I don't know if he's a man or a woman, but you don't even recognize him." Su Yu frowned and said, "Transformation department?" "No." On the other side, Su Bin said sullenly, "I only have this ability because of the special divine texts and the abundance of divine texts. I'm not in the transformation department. The transformation department completely transforms the body. I'm just a brilliant disguise and a change of appearance. Transforming the body is too silly." Zhu Tiandao chuckled and said, "Silly? If word gets out, you might not live for long." "I don't dare." Su Bin did not dare to say anything more. Zhu Tiandao smiled and said, "Go down and wait. Get some food for the big demons." "Go." "Yes, sir." Su Bin did not want to stay with him and quickly left. Zhu Tiandao's voice sounded faintly, "Don't even think about running away. If you run away and catch them again, it won't be the same treatment as before." "I don't dare." Su Bin cursed in his heart. He quickly disappeared in front of them. As for Zhu Tiandao, after he left, he chuckled and said, "He was caught in the academy previously. Isn't he amazing? This fellow's hidden abilities aren't weak. I almost fooled him. I originally wanted to catch Lan Tian, but I couldn't find him. Perhaps he didn't come to the Great Ming Mansion." These higher-ups more or less knew about Lan Tian's matter. After all, it involved the incipient devil cult master, so the Great Xia Mansion still spread some information. Su Yu nodded slightly and didn't say much. Zhu Tiandao smiled and said, "I let him test you because I wanted to see his abilities. Now, it seems like he's average, but you, kid, your strength isn't bad." After saying this, Zhu Tiandao smiled and said, "To make a long story short, recently, the Great Ming Mansion has had some small achievements. Old Bull and I don't have the time to play hide-and-seek every day. You, kid, also have a lot of people watching you. I think we should find an opportunity to kill them all in one go. Kill them all in one fell swoop." Su Yu did not have much hope. With the outcome of the Starfall Mountain last time, unless they are sure that they can succeed, they will not take the risk. Zhu Tiandao chuckled and said, "Aren't we going to let them take the risk? People, after all, like to watch the show. Gather information on the spot, join in the fun, and ask for information." Su Yu looked at him, not quite understanding what he meant. Zhu Tiandao laughed and said, "It's like this. Aren't you about to cast your body? I want you to make it public. The people of Daming Manor like to watch the show. Let them see how geniuses cast their bodies into the air. The public kind." Niu Baidao interjected, "There are some people in Daming Manor who like to show off after breaking through, but they're usually not that good. You're a genius, a peerless genius. Everyone will be very interested in you breaking through." Niu Baidao laughed heartily and said, "You can also find an excuse to promote your own cultivation method. For example, you can publicize your body forging technique or something. You can say that you are ready to promote it and let everyone see the results. This way, it will definitely attract countless people to watch." Zhu Tiandao nodded. At that time, if someone wanted to deal with you, or didn't want to deal with you, they would simply come to watch the show and gather information. That would also appear. After all, there are many people, and it is not eye-catching. Su Yu refused. Manor Head, isn't that too dangerous? Some of the people from the Myriad clan cult have hidden themselves very deeply. Even if they were among the crowd, you wouldn't be able to investigate them one by one. If you were to investigate everyone for no reason, it would cause a huge taboo. Zhu Tiandao said with a smile, we naturally have a way to identify them. Of course, we can identify those who have hidden their strength and those who have infiltrated. However, if someone has an identity on the surface, it would be difficult to determine. Some people did not necessarily have no identity, but had an identity on the surface. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1235. 1235 Chapter 292 True and False, 3. Su Yu's interest was piqued. You can tell his identity and strength? How did he do that? Zhu Tiandao smiled. That guy just now was found through this method. It's hard to find someone in the Shanghai realm who hides his strength. He's also a person in this path, so he was found out. After saying that, he added, of course, if you feel that it's dangerous, don't worry. We'll find him one by one sooner or later. At most, they could just spend a little more effort to investigate bit by bit. Of course, it was still a little difficult to cover the entire Sky Capital Manor. It was still in the process of adjusting. However, covering a small area was not difficult at all. Su Yu hesitated for a moment. Manor Head, is this method reliable? Other people have already hidden themselves, but they didn't even notice. It's reliable. Zhu Tiandao chuckled. It's absolutely reliable. Don't even think about concealing it from the sun and moon. Don't even think about concealing it from those who are above this realm. For example, some people who are at the recuperation realm and possess Ling Yun's combat strength can also be determined by us. Su Yu looked at him. Why did he feel like he was talking about him? You've investigated me? Su Yu suddenly said, when did this Su Bin be captured? Yesterday. Su Yu seemed to be deep in thought. I understand. Yesterday, around 2 p.m., we caught this person. Right. At that time, the manor head should have also investigated me. I knew that there was something wrong with the tribulation divine text. Yesterday, it suddenly jumped. As for Zhu Tiandao, he narrowed his eyes and looked at Niu Bendao. He frowned. Can't I sense the jade? Su Yu actually noticed it. Niu Bendao was also surprised. You noticed it? Su Yu said calmly, yes, but it was indeed very secretive. I almost overlooked it. He said it calmly, but in reality, it was still an accident. He didn't discover anything yesterday. The induction jade didn't change at all. That meant that no one had probed him at that time. Of course, the invincible probing meant that his induction jade couldn't detect it. But clearly, he wasn't unrivaled. Since that was the case, what methods did Zhu Tiandao and the others use to probe him? Also, the three great formations outside the research institute weren't able to block it. This was somewhat terrifying. Zhu Tiandao didn't say much. He was somewhat surprised by Su Yu's keen senses. He must have sensed it with some special method. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to detect it. He did not ask further. Zhu Tiandao quickly said, you can rest assured about your safety, Su Yu. Old Bull and I will be by your side that day. This is normal. The Daming Manor cannot be too obvious. One look and it is obvious that they are luring people into taking the bait. Instead, they are doing their best to protect your safety. This way, no one will suspect anything. They can lure all these people to the vicinity. The two strongest people in the Daming Manor were protecting Su Yu closely. No matter who it was, this did not seem like a trap. How could there be such a trap? They had even brought their strongest people here. Zhu Tiandao said again, we won't make a move directly at the scene. Keep an eye on the other party. This is our first priority. However, we hope that you can attract the strong. Under normal circumstances, the weak will come to scout for news. The strong may sit in their nest and wait for the weak to report. However, this is a serious matter. The strong will personally appear. Even if it's a risk, they will appear. Zhu Tiandao looked at Su Yu. What do you think? Are you willing to be bait? Of course, you have to be confident enough to lure some of the strong ones over. Small fries are meaningless. At the very least, you have to lure Ling Yun and even the mountains and seas. If such a strong person were to report the news, he would definitely find someone stronger than him. He might even come into contact with a sun-moon tier cultivator. As for the weaker ones, it was useless. Even if he were to keep an eye on the other party, it would be difficult for the other party to come into contact with a sun-moon tier cultivator. Seeing that Su Yu remained silent, Zhu Tiandao coughed dryly and said, "This way, we'll be able to exterminate experts, especially those at the sun-moon realm. If there are any gains, we'll split it 70-30, and you and I will split it 70-30. Sun-moon realm divine inscriptions, physical body, and literary weapons, they're all priceless treasures. It'll be great if we can strip some of the divine inscriptions and create a secret realm. Also, you can have the merit points that we killed. What do you think?" Su Yu raised his eyebrows and quickly said, "If I make a breakthrough, wouldn't it be too troublesome? Why don't we hold an auction, to sell the cultivation technique?" Zhu Tiandao shook his head and said, "That's useless. If the cultivation technique is sold, it will be spread out sooner or later. The fellows from the Myriad Clan sect don't care about these cultivation techniques that are about to be spread out. They are more interested in you as a person, not the cultivation technique that you are about to introduce. They need to covet you as a person, or even the invincible remains that you might have." Su Yu was speechless, as if he was a beauty. The key was that he needed a large amount of heaven yuan qi to establish his foundation for his breakthrough. Otherwise, it would have been easy. But now, it was not good to expose himself. Zhu Tiandao seemed to have noticed something as he smiled and said, "There are some special aspects to your breakthrough." "Maybe. That's even better." Zhu Tiandao grimaced, he smiled and said, "The more special, the better. Only then can it attract the interest of others. It's best if it's so special that it can draw out the phenomenon of heaven and earth just like last time. Damn, if that's the case, I guarantee that if the sun and moon of the Myriad Clan sect were nearby, they would definitely not be able to endure it. If there's a phenomenon of heaven and earth in the sky, that would be even worse. A person like you is definitely a target to be killed." Su Yu was speechless. "Manor head, then won't I be finished in the future? Will I be targeted? Aren't you now? But what if I attract Invincible's attention?" Zhu Tiandao chuckled and said, "It won't be that big of a deal. We'll create a fake phenomenon and kill those people afterwards. Explain it to me. I lied to you on purpose to lure you into taking the bait. What's the big deal? Why would Invincible care about this?" You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1236. 1236 Chapter 292 True and False, 4. Moreover, the Myriad Clans aren't invincible. The Myriad Clans are. When the Myriad Clans are invincible and encounter you, they will definitely kill you. Don't think too much. A fake phenomenon? Su Yu was stunned for a moment before he quickly understood. Manor head means to create a fake phenomenon. Is this feasible? It's possible. It's not a problem to hide it from the sun and moon. Su Yu asked curiously, then, is there really a phenomenon during the ascension? No. Zhu Tiandao smiled. There's no such thing as a phenomenon during the ascension. Of course, if you're powerful enough, you're truly blessed by the heavens. When you ascend to the mountain and sea realm and become one with the aperture, it's possible for a phenomenon to occur. Back then, Xia Longwu appeared. When he ascends to the mountain and sea realm, a golden rain fell from the sky, bathing all living things and covering 100 meters. This time, we will create a fake phenomenon and create a place that covers 3 to 5 meters. It just so happens that we have experience. When the time comes, there will be a Yuan Qi rain. Where did little Harry Ball get this experience from? Zhu Tiandao bared his teeth and said with a smile, "Good heavens, a phenomenon appears when one ascends to the sky. Don't you want to come and take a look? Even if I can't kill you, I have to take a closer look. Our Daming Manor values you a little." With 5 or 6 sun and moon guardians, when these people see that there aren't many sun and moon left in other places, they become bolder and observe from a distance of 10,000 meters away. It's very normal for them to be bolder. Just like the people, it's normal for them to observe you right under our noses. He chuckled and said, "Don't worry, there's absolutely no problem with safety. We'll explain later. That's a fake. It's made by ourselves. It won't cause too much trouble." Suyu understood and thought for a moment before saying, "There's actually no need to promote the cultivation method. I can show everyone how powerful it is to open 360 apertures and advance into the sky. At the same time, I can also promote the primordial spirit awakening technique. This is also possible." Thinking of this, Suyu said, "But I have a request. I have to go into seclusion to break through on my own. I can't make it public." Zhu Tiandao was surprised. "You mean? I need some treasures to aid me in breaking through. It's not good to make it public." "About that?" Zhu Tiandao smiled and said, "Simple. Make it so that everyone can see you, but not all of you. There's also no way to inspect your house completely. I'll just cover it for you. Don't use a house. Use that high-level arena to activate the array formation. It's illusory and real, so outsiders can't see it clearly. They can only roughly see what you're doing. Have you seen that thing used in the arena battle before?" Suyu nodded. He had seen them before. He had seen them on the first day of school. He had an idea. Perhaps he could really do it. Then it would be best to set up an anti-prying formation. As Suyu spoke, he glanced at the two of them and thought for a moment before saying, "Manor head, is this considered an overt scheme? It's just to attract their attention. However, they clearly know that Daming Manor might have this intention, yet they still have to come and throw their lives away." Zhu Tiandao smiled and said, "It's also a little interesting. Of course, they're very confident. Who among the strong wouldn't be confident? Since you're not going to make a move, I'll just take a look. It's not like you, Zhu Tiandao, are invincible. What else can you discover? Even if you're invincible, you can still probe everyone. That's a taboo. Cultivators value their privacy the most. On the first day of your cultivation, someone probably told you not to randomly probe others. Otherwise, it would be considered an enemy." Suyu nodded. There were 2 situations when cultivators probed others. First, the master-disciple test. Second, the enemy. A hothead might do this the first time, but he definitely would not do it the second time. Back then, Suyu had done it once in the Yuan Qi mystic realm. Later on, he was taught a lesson. Then, when Elder Huang and the rest wanted to probe Suyu, they found all sorts of reasons and excuses to say that they were helping him seal his aura. Now that they thought about it, it was also very funny. Zhu Tiandao smiled and said, "They're betting that we won't dare to investigate them one by one, especially in places like the Daming Prefecture. The people have a strong sense of freedom, so if you investigate them one by one, it's easy for problems to arise. The Great Qin Prefecture is still better off. Moreover, our Daming Prefecture has never been involved in these things. The Myriad Clan sect is also very bold. They've even infiltrated the academy to steal research results. At that time, if there really is an anomaly, these fellows will definitely not be able to hold themselves back. Even if they were able to hold themselves back in the beginning, they would still have to come over later. At this point, Zhu Tiandao smiled and said, "Suyu, what do you think? If we succeed, I think we can fish up a Sun-Moon tier warrior. Kill the chicken to warn the monkeys. Whatever you do in the future, they might think that you're fishing. Even if there's an opportunity to make a move on you, they'll still lack the courage. If you go out alone, they'll all think that it's a trap." Suyu thought for a moment and smiled. It was really possible. If he could really kill a Sun-Moon tier warrior this time, then next time, he would go out alone and not bring anyone with him. There were 10,000 clans teaching Sun and Moon nearby. They would probably have to worry if this kid was luring them into taking the bait again. There were indeed many guarantees for their safety. Forget about the first time. The second time, Sun and Moon died. Suyu felt that no one would dare to provoke him. He was greedy for money, not unafraid of death. It was true that people died for money, but the benefits were great. If the key person died, no matter how great the benefits were, it would not be their turn. Zhu Tiandao said again, "In the vicinity of our Tiandu prefecture, I guess that there are definitely some sect masters of the Myriad Clan sect hiding. These fellows are not willing to give up on their evil intentions. If we don't kill them, we will be afraid of them. When more and more experts gather, they might even be bold enough to take the initiative to attack the Tiandu prefecture. It's still better now. There are probably not many people here, or perhaps some fellows are waiting for reinforcements, waiting for the experts of the various clans to come personally. As time goes on, if you produce a few more results, these people won't be able to wait anymore." You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1237. 1237 Chapter 292 True and False, 5. Suyu was deep in thought as he nodded. It was indeed possible for such a situation to occur. "Manor Head, are you sure you can find them? And that you won't lose them?" "I'm sure." Zhu Tiandao smiled and said, "You don't even have this little bit of confidence, and you're still fishing? You're more or less eaten by the fish. After this job is done, Daming Manor will at least be able to maintain peace for a long time, and you'll be able to relax a little. You won't have to worry about someone constantly trying to ambush and kill you. Of course, if Invincible sneaks in and wants to kill you, then you can just admit that you're unlucky. There was no other way." Suyu nodded. "Understood. 30-70. There's no need for 30 to 70. Manor Head, if we can kill these guys and obtain some divine inscriptions, I will need some divine inscriptions. What do you think?" "No problem. Also, it would be best if we can capture a few of them alive." Suyu thought for a moment and said, "It would be best if we capture them in a very secretive manner. We can capture them without outsiders knowing." Zhu Tiandao said in surprise, "Capture them alive? If outsiders don't know, are you still planning to infiltrate the Myriad Clan cult?" "That's not necessary. There are at least a few spies in the various manors." Suyu smiled and said, "We'll talk about it when the time comes. I'll see if it's possible to establish a cult or something. I heard that the swindlers of the Myriad Clan cult have also occupied a portion of the mainstream." There was nothing to say. Zhu Tiandao was speechless. "You sure have the guts to think about it. Usually, it's to swindle small clans. There's not much meaning and you won't be able to swindle many things. What good things can a small clan have? Having a Sun and Moon guarding it isn't considered weak. What can I give you? Don't waste your time on that matter." He didn't really mind. It was normal for him to look down on small clans. It wasn't just one or two small clans that the human race had exterminated. Suyu continued, "Manor head, that phenomenon, isn't the Yuan Qi rain just too stingy and shabby? People might think that it's fake. Why don't we make it like little Harry Ball did last time, and let heaven's Yuan Qi descend?" Scram! Zhu Tiandao directly scolded, "Kid, do you think that heaven's Yuan Qi is easy to take? The last time I gave you a heaven's Yuan fruit, my heart ached for a long time. Where did the heaven's Yuan Qi come from to be used as bait? The Yuan Qi rain was even shabby. Kid, what were you thinking? Did you really think that everyone was like you and did not lack money? Now, the only thing missing was to use the Yuan Qi liquid as water to drink." Suyu still felt that the scene was not big enough. The Yuan Qi rain was not bad, but to experts, it was really just that. If he could use the heaven Yuan Qi to disguise as a phenomenon. Suyu was certain that even the sun and moon had to believe that this was a real phenomenon. Who would use the heaven Yuan Qi as a fake phenomenon? Wouldn't it be a waste? It wasn't the origin of the heaven Yuan Qi, so how many heaven Yuan fruits would it cost? The heaven Yuan Qi from the origin of the heaven Yuan Qi was different from the heaven Yuan fruits. One was violent, the other was gentle, and the phenomenon was very gentle. This Suyu had it. He felt that if he were to do it himself, then the fake would be no different from the real one. He could definitely lie to others. There was no problem in lying to the sun and moon. The phenomenon would have to be absorbed by himself in the end, so it wouldn't be much of a waste. Suyu pondered for a moment. How should he put it? Thinking of this, Suyu suddenly said, "Manor head, do you still remember that day when I obtained a small box at Starfall Mountain? That dragon horn box? Of course I remember this. This kid actually didn't open it for me." Suyu nodded. "It's that one. I opened it. There's indeed a treasure inside." "What treasure?" Zhu Tiandao's interest was piqued. "Tell me, what treasure?" He actually used the dragon horn to create a storage box. "A ball." "A ball?" Zhu Tiandao was curious. "What ball?" Niu Baidao was also curious. The Heavenly Divine sect can be considered a great sect. The sect master is even at the 7th level of the sun and moon. The treasure he has is probably not ordinary. It might have been given to him by the Heavenly Divine clan. What kind of treasure could allow us to experience it? Suyu smiled and said, "Actually, it's not really an important treasure. A large ball was compressed and almost lost by me. Fortunately, I wrapped it with divine runes later on. I think it's a good thing. This time, I also intend to rely on this thing to cast my body. It's also useful to you." The two of them were now curious. A treasure that was treasured by the 7th level of the sun and moon was also useful to Suyu. What could it be? Was it helpful to cast a body? Zhu Tiandao teased, "It can't be the heaven origin fruit, right? This thing. Let's not talk about it. The celestial race does have it, but to sect master Tianyi, it's nothing. One or two of them aren't of much use, but they can nurture one or two geniuses to open their eyes. The Tianyi celestial race did have the heaven origin fruit, but it didn't mean much to the sun and moon. Nurturing one or two geniuses was nothing much." Suyu smiled and said, "It seems like it, but it doesn't seem like it. I don't know if it's valuable or not. I also feel that it's too much for the other party to value it so much." As he said that, he took out a large black ball from his storage ring. It was very, very large. The moment the ball was taken out, the two of them swept a glance at it, and the next moment, they fell silent. The tiny golden dragons of heaven essence Qi was nothing. They were not ignorant people. But F*ck, it was too much. With a glance, it was really too much. Zhu Tiandao sensed it. F*ck. There was only one sentence in his heart. How much was this? It was at least the amount of 150 heaven yuan fruits. In the human realm for 9 years, 180 heaven yuan fruits were produced. It was about this much, similar to the amount in this round ball. The entire human realm had 10 billion humans. That was it. Was it too much? It was too much. Daming Mansion could get 2 heaven origin fruits in 9 years. As expected, they only got 30 heaven origin fruits from 300 years ago. Daming and Great Xia did not even get this many heaven origin fruits in 300 years. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1238. 1238 Chapter 292 True and False, 6. No, not even half. After a while, Zhu Tiandao muttered, the heavenly Yi celestial race is so generous. F***ck. If I knew this, I would have opened up a myriad clan sect. When did the celestial race become so generous? Are they giving away all the years of production in the territory? Niu Bendao also muttered, this matches up. If we kill Xiaolongwu, we have to spend a lot of money. No wonder the heavenly Yi divine sect went all out to look for trouble with Xiaolongwu in the Great Xia manner. They are prepared to abandon those cannon fodders and create geniuses. This can at least allow 1 to 200 geniuses to open their yuan when they were young. With more geniuses, there will be more experts. They are much stronger than those mediocre geniuses. Zhu Tiandao nodded and exclaimed, what a huge sum. If we really count it as money, there isn't much. The heavenly yuan fruit is actually only worth around 2,000 merit points per piece. It's only around 300,000 to 400,000 merit points, but it can't be bought. 300,000 to 400,000 merit points is enough to tempt the heavenly Yi divine sect. The two of them spoke one after another, instantly forming everything in their minds. So that was the case. They were suddenly enlightened. No wonder. So that was the reason why the heavenly Yi divine sect would come out in full force. These things were indeed very good. Niu Bidao sighed, this thing is a treasure to nurture geniuses. The entire human realm would only produce this much in 9 years. How many people in the human realm would want to share it? He got it all for himself. I even want to teach him a lesson and get some good stuff back. The two of them sighed. They really didn't doubt it. Dragon horns could store heavenly yuan qi. Using dragon horn boxes to store this was reasonable. It was also worth using precious dragon horn boxes to store it. Zhu Tiandao was a little curious. Why did you open it so quickly? Suyu said with a smile, I got the little furball to work with me to grind it open. I even suspected it was fake the first time I saw it. Didn't Mannerhead give me a heaven essence fruit the last time? It seems like it. Kid, your luck is really good. Zhu Tiandao said in a speechless manner, this thing is indeed a good thing to cast a body. But, kid, do you know that once this thing is cracked open, it will overflow and instantly turn into ordinary yuan qi? If this is wasted, this isn't just a little bit. It's made from hundreds of heaven essence fruits. Does the Tianyi celestial race have to live? He was a little speechless. He had taken out so many of them just to kill Xiaolongwu. Suyu said with a smile, I'm also afraid, but aren't they still well preserved? Mannerhead, how about using this to take out a portion and create an illusion? It's more realistic. Even if some of it overflows, the illusion will still belong to me. If I absorb it, it won't be much of a waste. At most, I'll just waste 10 or 8 of them. If I can fish out the sun and moon, I'm willing to waste them too. You're really willing to part with it. Zhu Tiandao's eyes were slightly red as he said, why don't we stop doing it? Fishing is meaningless. Suyu, give me some. I'll exchange some things with you. There are still some juniors in the Zhu family. They're still young, so just give them the yuan opening directly. There are still juniors in the Zhu family's direct line of descent. It's the same for the side branches. There are quite a number of geniuses in Daming Prefecture. No, I want to fish. Su Yu refused. I want to fish, I insist on fishing. Zhu Tiandao looked at old Niu and was depressed. Wasn't it too wasteful? Niu Bendao thought for a moment and said, if we use this to fake the phenomenon, it's really realistic. If Su Yu is willing to waste some of it, the moment that the phenomenon appears, it will explode and dissipate a portion of the heaven yuan qi. The sun and moon will definitely be able to feel it. Even if we were suspicious at first, we have to rush over to take a look. This is the real bait. The bait was too real. No one would really doubt it. Daming Manor did not have so many heaven yuan fruits. Su Yu's heart was beating slightly. He did not doubt it, right? Some things were best left unsaid. The dragon horn box had become an excuse. As for the real dragon horn box, Su Yu still had no way to open it. It would not be that easy. Zhu Tiandao hesitated for a moment before gritting his teeth. I'll drink it. It's just a little heaven yuan qi. It's nothing. It's not like I'm someone who hasn't seen the world before. Furthermore, it's not even mine. Zhu Tiandao was depressed. You, Su Yu, are really rich and overbearing. Even I can't bear to do this. This thing, was it really obtained from the dragon horn box? I'm not too sure. It was hard for him to say. This thing could indeed be considered a supreme treasure. Over 100 heaven yuan fruits were sold to the right person. The value was also frighteningly high. It was specially found in large families and those geniuses to sell. The kind that were geniuses when they were young. He had offered 10,000 merit points and quickly entered the 1,000 tons. It wasn't even a problem for him to be 8 or 9 years old. Were you going to buy it or not? Buy it. If he sold it to the right person, it wouldn't be difficult for him to obtain 1,000,000 merit points. Even if the Heavenly Yi Divine Sect was packaged and sold, it wouldn't be worth this price. Then, the Heavenly Yi Divine Sect master wasn't afraid of death and went to ambush Xia Longwu, so there was nothing suspicious about it. It was just that it was strange. The Heavenly Yi Divine Clan had quite a number of valuable treasures over there, yet they were reduced to giving the Heaven Origin fruit as a reward. Strange. Although it was strange, it wasn't appropriate to ask in detail at this moment. Zhu Tiandao calculated for a while and quickly said, this way, it'll be much easier to handle. Maybe we'll really catch the sun and moon. Su Yu, how much longer will it take for you to break through? Do you need any help? Su Yu calculated for a moment and quickly said, 3 days will do. Give everyone some time to prepare and give me some time. A phenomenon from the sky. I'm afraid I'll really become famous this time. With a laugh, Niu Baidao also laughed and said, you brat, when the time comes, it'll really be interesting if the natural phenomenon really happens. How can that be? Zhu Tiandao smiled and froze for a moment. Niu Baidao also froze for a moment. Will it? No way. Only the mountains and seas have it, but you, Su Yu. It can't be. Su Yu looked at the two of them and revealed a suspicious look. What? Why are you looking at me? Niu Baidao glanced at Zhu Tiandao and said sullenly, prepare a fake vision. Regardless of whether it's real or fake, it's all fake. F*ck, it can't be real, right? Forget it, regardless of whether it's real or fake, it must be fake. Otherwise, there would really be a problem. P.S. For the last 3 days, I hope the monthly vote supports it. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1239. 1239 Chapter 293, The Drama Begins a Monthly. After discussing with the two sun and moon experts for a while, Suyu also felt that it was not bad. There is no one who can guard against thieves for 1,000 days. Breaking your claws and making you stare at me, you won't dare to do it again, right? Of course, if you dare to do it again next time, you might be invincible. Everyone was well aware of this, but it did not matter. If the invincible really dared to enter the human realm, a great battle would have broken out long ago. There were so many invincible people in the human realm, and they were not to be trifled with. If they were still not dealt with at the doorstep, then the human race would not be able to survive. He was in a good mood, but the next time he had heavenly Yuan Qi, it would not be easy to fool him. Could it be that the next time, the heavenly Yuan Qi in the dragon horn box was not only this much, but he had also hidden some? After finishing the discussion, Suyu went down the courtyard. Not far away, the three great demons and Su Bin were chatting together. Suyu walked over, and Su Bin had turned into a man again. It was neither a man nor a woman, so Suyu could not be bothered with him. He was a little curious about his divine runes. The divine runes that secretly stole things and the divine runes that changed identities felt pretty good. Of course, it was fine if he turned into a woman. Researcher Su. Su Bin was very polite and had a smile on his face. Suyu glanced at him and said calmly, "He's smiling happily. There aren't many good people." Behind him, Zhu Tiandao and Nyobendao's smiles froze on their faces. Did you think that the one who was smiling happily wasn't a good person? Then, we often smile at you. What do you think? Suyu didn't care what they thought. Since this person had been captured, he would lose some respect, and neither would mountains and seas. He heard that he had come for himself. Where did you accept the mission? I went to the Chamber of Commerce to get in touch with the other party. Suyu nodded slightly and smiled. Can you give me a mission? In the 10,000 clans education, just say that my primordial spirit aperture has some results. The news hasn't been made public yet. Let someone steal the information and offer a high price. 500,000 to 1 million contribution points is fine. Su Bin looked at him in surprise. So high, aren't you afraid of torturing yourself to death? Can you distribute it? Su Bin said carefully, yes, but such a high price. I'm afraid that many sun and moon will be interested. Then come. Suyu smiled and said, it's best to distribute it to all the sun and moon. Of course, do you have the credibility in the Myriad clan cult? Don't let others suspect you. Su Bin said cautiously, I'm still somewhat famous in the Myriad clan cult. Of course, I'm not a member of the Myriad clan cult. I'm just a middleman, helping to deal with some things that are difficult to deal with. Suyu nodded, understood. The people of the Myriad clan cult kill people and steal their goods. You people help deal with it and convert it into the merits or contributions they need. I've heard that people like you should be killed too. Without you, they wouldn't dare to steal their goods even if they killed people. There's no benefit in killing people, so who would kill? Do you think that people like you are good people just because you don't kill people? He scoffed. Just like Suyu himself. If he didn't buy so much of the Shattering Mountain Ox blood essence, the Shattering Mountain Ox might not have died so many times. It was the same logic. The Shattering Mountain Ox clan hated Suyu and wanted to kill Suyu. Suyu didn't feel wronged and didn't feel wronged. As for people like Su Bin, it was the same logic. Killing someone was not innocent. Su Bin did not dare to say much. Suyu had a very high status in Daming Manor. Zhu Tiandao, Nyobendao, and the others had different attitudes towards him. Strictly speaking, his status in Daming Manor was even higher than those princes of the Zhu family. Of course, it did not mean that Zhu Tiandao was closer to Suyu than his own grandson. From the perspective of benefits, Suyu's value was much higher than others. This was enough. Su Bin didn't dare to go against him. Otherwise, he wouldn't even know how he died. Su Yu smiled and said, President Su is quite famous in the industry. He claims that nothing can be stolen. Isn't this mission a little too incompetent of you? Su Bin hurriedly said, It's all right. No matter how capable you are, there are times when you need someone to cooperate with you. If it really doesn't work, I can contact some people and spread some rumors. Naturally, there will be people who will make plans. It's fine even if you don't give out the mission. Su Yu nodded slightly and didn't say anything else. After thinking for a moment, he turned his head and said, Manor Head, if I leave the research institute will also have to make some arrangements. Be careful that some people take advantage of the situation and try to create a diversion to sneak into my research institute. Behind him, Zhu Tiandao nodded slightly. It was a small matter. In the Institute of Civilization, it was still fine in the past. Now that the super-sensing jade was out, it would be courting death if they still wanted to sneak in. Did they really think that the Great Ming Mansion was weak? Putting everything else aside, there were many old people and many experienced ones. Their actual combat abilities might be a little weak, but they had many tricks up their sleeves. Su Yu didn't say anything more. He walked to the shore and was about to call out to Old Turtle when One-Eyed suddenly said, Su Yu, if we follow you, what will we get? What will we have to pay? Su Yu turned his head, he smiled and said, There are some things that need our help. The seniors will help, but the rest is nothing. As for what we will get, I cannot give much to the Mountain Sea realm, especially the non-humans. Unlike the humans, I can give some cultivation techniques. After a pause, Su Yu continued, the seniors expect me to be stronger and develop more things. Perhaps I can give them some help. In general, that is the case. As for the rest, I cannot promise them. As soon as he said this, Zhu Shan said in a muffled voice, This is just an empty promise. There's nothing real about it. Su Yu smiled and said, You can say that because I really can't give them anything. Of course, I will provide them with the basic training needs. In addition, the Mansion Master will give them a certain degree of protection within the Great Ming Mansion. That's basically the case. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1240. 1240 Chapter 293, The show is about to begin. Show Monthly 2. What to give? What could he give to a Mountain Sea Realm demon? Actually, Su Yu couldn't give him anything. Of course, he could give him the Heaven Yuan Qi, but forget about it. There was no need to get it everywhere. If he really got it everywhere, it would be hard to explain. Cultivation techniques weren't common between humans and demons. However, Su Yu thought about it and said, Seniors, if you really need anything, I can help you snatch some when I become stronger. As for the rest, there's nothing to say. They were speechless. The three great demons looked at each other. What was their choice? Leave. They did not dare. Actually, they did not have a choice. One-Eyed sighed softly in his heart and said in a low voice, In that case, please take care of us in the future, Lord Su. He had no choice but to lower his head under the eaves. Su Yu did not mind, he smiled and said, Seniors, there's no need to be like this. To be honest, we're all using each other. I really feel that we can't stay here any longer. When things calm down a little, the seniors can leave at any time. I won't stop them. It's also for the sake of the seniors. If they really want to leave, I won't stop them at this moment. He was using his connections. He didn't expect the three great demons to treat him as their master, and the three great demons also didn't expect Su Yu to treat them as family. The three great demons didn't say anything. Su Yu didn't say much and called Old Turtle. Old Turtle sent him across the river as he said, Young man, you asked me for blood essence last time. Do you still want it now? Senior's blood essence is too strong. Thank you, Senior. I don't need it for now. Suyu smiled. He didn't need the blood essence of the mountain and sea realm right now. Forget it. Once the body forging reached a certain stage, he might still be able to use it. There was also someone who took the initiative to send the blood essence. Suyu was also surprised. This old turtle was so good. The old revolving turtle didn't say anything else. Rushing wasn't a business. Very quickly, he sent Suyu across the river. The three great demons also followed Suyu into the research institute. Of course, they were all very secretive. Daming Prefecture. Tiandu Prefecture, the capital of gossip. February 22nd. Early in the morning, news began to spread. Does Suyu know? He's about to soar into the sky to cast his physical body. I heard that this time, he's demonstrating the miracle of 360 apertures casting. This fellow has opened 360 yuan apertures. That's too scary. Silly, he's not demonstrating 360 apertures. He's promoting the primordial spirit awakening technique for us. I heard that after cultivating this cultivation technique, the speed of awakening is extremely fast. A mid-tier heaven rank cultivation technique can be cultivated as a mystic rank. F***ck, so awesome, then won't the fighters be incomparably powerful in the future? The fighters are feeling great, will the status of a civilized master decrease in the future? Nonsense, this cultivation technique was developed by a civilized master. Without a civilized master, where would the fighters get these powerful cultivation techniques? And the civilized master is even more awesome. Look, Suyu is a civilized master, how many cultivation techniques has he launched recently? Is this primordial spirit enlightenment technique really that powerful? Easily enlightened. Suyu wants to promote it with such a big fanfare. I think the price is not small. He has not even opened a few hundred of them in a year, and all of them are relying on this cultivation technique. Don't you think it's powerful? Now that it's voluntarily made public. I think the price is not low either. Hurry up and save money. Exchange it for a cultivation technique. If you can't use it yourself, it's also good to exchange it for your sons and grandsons. It's a heaven rank cultivation technique. Everyone was in an uproar. Suyu was going to promote the primordial spirit awakening technique. Previously, he didn't promote the fusion technique as it didn't have many openings and could be considered as a minor cultivation technique. After that, he didn't promote the primordial spirit text technique as it was a civilized cultivation technique. But now, Suyu's meaning was very clear. He wanted to replace those basic cultivation techniques and even make this cultivation technique the mainstream cultivation technique of the fighter path in the future. This was a major event, and it would be updated and updated. It was a cultivation method that caused a huge change in the entire human race's warrior path. The news spread quickly. In a restaurant, the storyteller was also talking. A customer asked, with such a big fanfare, Suyu's reputation is so great, and now he wants to promote a heaven-rank cultivation method. Aren't you afraid of being assassinated? The storyteller scoffed, what are you thinking about? The Daming Manor doesn't know what you know. This time, the Manor Head and Manor Head Nyo are personally guarding Suyu's safety. This face. Even the Zhu family's highness doesn't have it. The 9th and 7th levels of the Sun and Moon are personally guarding him. Assassination? The people who can assassinate Suyu still don't exist. They really have a lot of face. The diners were also shocked. The Manor Head and Manor Head were both important figures. To personally step out to protect a non-soaring sky cultivator, what was this called? This was called face. The storyteller chuckled and said, it's not just these two. This time, I heard that there will be 1 or 2 Sun-Moon realm cultivators to protect Suyu. This is to prevent the little bastards from the myriad clan sect from ruining the banquet. With so many experts protecting the Tao, Su Yu is considered the first time the Daming Manor has encountered such a situation. That's right. Breaking through a soaring realm cultivator and having so many important figures protect his Tao, the civilized master still has face. It's not the civilized master who has the face, it's the researcher, the genius. This is the face. If a cultivation technique were to really spread to the human realm, how much would the Great Ming Mansion benefit? That's also true. As the discussion went wild, everyone was talking about it. They were also moved. The fighters were the mainstream. According to Su Yu's words and the news that spread out, there were 126 apertures of cultivation techniques that overlapped with the joint aperture technique. The other 18 did not overlap. If they cultivated together, they would need to open 144 apertures. It was exactly the same number of acupoints as the top heaven tier cultivation technique. However, in the primordial spirit awakening technique, 14 acupoints meant one level. If one were to complete one level, the speed of opening one's acupoints would be much faster, and the difficulty of cultivating it would be greatly reduced. After opening the convergence of acupoints, one would be able to enter the myriad stone 9 levels very quickly. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1241. 1241 Chapter 293, the show is about to begin. It will not be any slower than your cultivation of the 72 aperture Aries art. Once this cultivation technique is released, in a few years, everyone in the human realm will be a genius. Of course, there is also one point that said that it will consume a lot of resources. This is inevitable. After all, there are many openings. Even if there are some difficult problems, to everyone, this is a world-shaking event. From now on, perhaps the human race would set foot on the path of becoming a genius. After a few years, perhaps other cultivation techniques below the heaven rank would be eliminated. The news continued to spread. This time, Su Yu would prove to everyone how powerful the body cast was. It was said that after he cast his body, he would have a sparring session with some Lingyan fighters. All in all, the Great Ming Mansion was almost familiar with the primordial spirit awakening technique. Countless people wanted to see if Su Yu had really opened so many apertures. After opening so many apertures, what was the difference between casting a body and other people? When could this set of cultivation technique be spread out, how much it cost to cultivate, and how much resources were consumed? Su Yu would announce these to everyone in a few days to clarify the pros and cons. Primordial Spirit Awakening Technique. Outside the capital city, an old man was cultivating. Behind him, a simple and honest middle-aged man was helping as well. He said in a low voice, "That's right." However, he didn't make an appearance during the past few times when the cultivation technique was being promoted. This time, he suddenly wants to publicly promote it, and he even wants to publicly verify his Tao. Lord, what does he mean by that? A trap. The old man said indifferently, "It's to attract your attention, and even to attack him." Attack? The middle-aged man didn't say anything. Attack my ass. I already said that there are many sun and moon Tao protectors, how would I dare? The old man was also puzzled. This setup was too simple. However, he also said that Zhu Tiandao and the others would protect the Tao. Could it be that they were hoping to lure Invincible into making a move? Where did Invincible come from? What was the meaning of that? Was it purely to promote the cultivation technique? He also couldn't understand the purpose of Su Yu and Zhu Tiandao. It was too foolish to say that they were luring the enemy. Who the hell would seek their own death? In public, they went to cause trouble for Su Yu. They were not afraid of being chopped into pieces by the sun and moon. However, Su Yu came out of nowhere to demonstrate the cultivation technique and cast his body into the air. It did not bring much benefit. Could it be that they were trying to prove that Su Yu was a genius? I don't understand. The old man could be considered a knowledgeable person. He was also confused by this seemingly plausible action. The middle-aged man suddenly thought of something. Sir, could it be that they are saying this on purpose? In fact, Zhu Tiandao and the others won't go, so they are letting Su Yu attract our attention while the sun and moon go out to sweep some sect strongholds. The old man said uncertainly, it can't be that serious. To throw Su Yu into the city to attract attention for some strongholds, how careless must they be? The middle-aged man said excitedly, even Sir feels that it's impossible, so do the others. Perhaps this is the purpose. I heard that the six-winged divine sect has been chasing after Qin Yong and Feng Qi. Do you think Su Yu was deliberately used as bait to let Zhu Tiandao and the others rescue his martial uncle? It made a little bit of sense. But it couldn't be taken seriously. The old man thought for a moment and said, I don't understand them. Forget it, don't take risks so easily. These people aren't easy to deal with, and I don't know the situation now. When the time comes, you can bring a few people to blend in with the crowd and observe the situation. If Zhu Tiandao and the others are really here, then Daming Manor has nothing to do. It's not the first time anyway. It was normal for Daming Manor to do such things. It wasn't the first time. It was just that this time, the commotion was a little big. The Salted Fish Daming Manor would organize a bunch of activities and festivals every year. Everyone knew about this. The Daming Manor's life happiness index was still very high. The capital of heaven was also known as the capital of romance and gossip in the outside world, the capital of festivals. If they didn't understand the situation, then they wouldn't understand. They could just let their subordinates bring a few people to take a look. Your subordinate understands. The middle-aged man quickly responded and quickly said, Sir, if Zhu Tiandao and the others are not around. The old man said calmly, don't be in a hurry to define it. If we really don't talk about it anymore, if we act rashly, we will only have one life. Don't act rashly. He still did not understand the situation. Forget it, he did not plan to enter the city to take a look anyway. When the time came, his subordinate would just report the situation. The middle-aged man nodded and said softly, then let's go to the Chamber of Commerce. Su Bin. The old man snorted, ignore it. Primordial Spirit Aperture, infiltrating the Research Institute. The news has spread a little widely. I suspect that Zhu Tiandao and the others' purpose this time is to wait for the rabbit. Su Yu's side might not have any traps. The Research Institute must have a trap. I'm not going. He was not going to the Research Institute. He was now suspecting that Su Yu and Zhu Tiandao had come out on purpose. They might have come out on purpose so that someone could infiltrate the Research Institute. How dangerous was that? Whoever went would be a fool. Of course, there were plenty of fools. Perhaps someone would go. No one in the Sun-Moon tier would go anyway, and neither would the mountains and seas. There were a few idiots who had cultivated to the Sun-Moon tier. Su Bin, that bastard. It was possible that he wanted them to test the waters, so he didn't bother with them. The middle-aged man didn't say anything else. After working for a while, he quickly left. The moment he left, the old man stopped for a moment. He smiled, threw down his hoe, and also quickly left. After walking for a while, he turned into a middle-aged man. He had to be careful, or else he would be targeted. Safety first. In any case, he did not want to join in the bustle of Daming Manor. Even if he did, he had to stay away from it. The same scene was happening all over the place. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1242. 1242 Chapter 293, The Grand Show is about to begin. In a farm, a chubby old man greeted the farmers with a smile. He entered his own manor, took out a voice transmission talisman, checked it, and muttered, a trap. Just like the old man from before, the chubby old man had some doubts, but he didn't understand what they meant. Primordial Spirit Awakening Formula. The plump old man muttered. Even if he didn't want to learn it, he had to obtain it for his descendants to learn. It had to be said that the cultivation technique that Su Yu had obtained was of top-notch quality. It wasn't expensive at all. With a proper identity, it wasn't too difficult to obtain it. Primordial Spirit Awakening Formula. I can skip Kaiyuan directly, and I can even convert my willpower and Yuan Qi to cultivate together. Is this for real? The fat old man might not believe what others said. Su Yu's words. It was best to believe 70% of it. The closing aperture technique and other cultivation techniques were all proof. This brat must have obtained an invincible ancient domain. He was truly envious. The fat old man thought for a moment before sending a voice transmission. Send someone to observe. Don't go to the research institute. Be careful, it's a trap. If there's anything, report it immediately. Be careful, don't be targeted by others. Yes, sir. The fat old man sent a message. He smiled and crushed the voice transmission talisman. Be careful, he didn't want to be the one to stand out. Capturing Su Yu and killing Su Yu were the goals of many people, but being the one to stand out didn't bring any benefits. In any case, he wasn't going to appear this time, nor was he going to do anything. He wanted to observe the situation first. Could it be that it's to relieve the pressure on Qin Yong and the others? The old man also had this thought. Could it be that Su Yu was trying to attract the attention of the Six Wings Divine Sect? Or perhaps he could tell the Six Wings Divine Sect that someone could come to the Great Ming Mansion to find trouble with him. He's a good martial nephew, unfortunately, he might not come. The fat old man smiled. The Six Wings Divine Sect had their eyes on Qin Yong for quite a while now. Many experts of the Six Wings Divine Sect had died. It was probably Qin Yong and Feng Qi who had done it. The dog that bit the man didn't bark. He had even thought that it was an accident. The news continued to circulate. One after another. Manor after manor. Great Xia Manor. Lord Xia Ho sighed. It's happening again. This cultivation technique is being pushed out for free. This kid is not so active in the Great Xia Manor. At the side, Chief Hu said softly, returning the favor. Manor Head Zhu has given him extremely high treatment. He can practically run amok in the Great Ming Manor. Under such circumstances, with Su Yu's character, it is not surprising that he would do such a thing. Lord Xia Ho said with a headache, I don't really care about this. The key is that this kid's cultivation technique, no matter how much we push it, might not be transmitted to the Great Xia Manor. It'll be another big trouble. Who knows, we might have to come knocking on their door and beg them again. If this is really as easy to cultivate as he said. General Manager Hu said softly, it's just as he said. Hu Hao has already started cultivating and recast his physical body. Using this cultivation technique as the foundation, he used the Earth Origin fruit to open the first 14 apertures. Hu Hao said that the speed of opening apertures will increase by at least 10%. This is still the first level. When the second 14 apertures are opened, that speed will be even faster. When he cultivates to the 9th level, the speed of opening apertures will be at least twice as fast as the others. Other people had 1 aperture, but you had 2. With the same aptitude, how would you choose? Then, you would cultivate the Chimera technique and quickly enter the 9th level of the 10,000 stones realm. Hu exclaimed, 30 years, or maybe 40 years. At that time, the person who cultivates these techniques now will become Ling Yun, or Shan Hai. Their battle prowess will be extremely strong, much stronger than the current fighters. Their prospects will be greater, and their future prospects will be more promising. The sun and moon will no longer be a realm that cannot be reached. Marquis, the effects of this technique will only be seen in the later stages. Lord Xiaoho said in a speechless manner, I know. Do you even need to say that? A group of people who cultivated heaven-rank cultivation techniques, don't you think they are powerful? Chief Hu said again, this time, he publicly announced that he wanted to cast his body in front of everyone. Is this a trap set by the Daming Manor? But there's no need for that, right? He was also a smart person, but he was also somewhat unable to see through the motives of the Daming Manor and Su Yu. Lord Xiaoho also could not understand it, but he said firmly, it's definitely a trap. As for how? It's hard to say. Perhaps some fool will take the risk and make a move. Or if there's an accident midway, Zhu Tiandao and the others will leave, leaving Su Yu behind to create an opportunity for others to make a move. Lord Xiaoho muttered. That was not necessary. The fellow from the Great Ming Mansion, that Zhu Shower, had been acting mysteriously for some reason recently. Manager Hu said softly, then, do we need to do anything? Lord Xiaoho waved his hand. There's no need. He didn't beg us, so there's no point in rushing him. Just get old Zhao to find Chen Yong as soon as possible. Where the hell is Chen Yong? If he really gets killed, then we'll really become enemies. Manager Hu shook his head. I can't contact him. I don't know his voice transmission channel, so I can't contact him. Old Zhao has missed him several times, but he didn't meet him. Instead, he met old Ho from Daming Manor. That kid Su Yu. He sure has a lot of face. Master Xiaoho laughed. The director of Daming Manor's Department of Cultivation personally ran errands for him, so he had a lot of face. After saying that, he quickly said, forget it, let's watch the show. However, remind Fatty Zhu to be careful. Don't draw someone out. Chief Hu laughed, unless the real body comes, otherwise, the Divine One Avatar will be courting death. Zhu Tiandao will have no problem dealing with the Divine One Avatar. If the real body really comes, that might not be a bad thing. At least we know who it is. It's better to be careful. If it really comes, it will be a big trouble for them to kill a group of people and run away to join the 10,000 clans. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1243. 1243 Chapter 293 The opening of the drama Chiu Monthly 5. That's true. Hu nodded. We should warn him. The invincible in the dark may have noticed Su Yu. Word travels fast. In Daming Mansion. Ming Xan Tang. The Basilica. Zhu Tiandao appears again, smile Wei, these 2 days, have strange strong person infiltrated. The old woman surnamed Hu, who was adjusting the controls, said with a smile, there are a few, but they are not strong. There are a few in the sky soaring realm, a few in the Lingyun realm. The old woman pointed out a few black dots on the mirror, she said with a smile, they have all been marked and have not been monitored by anyone to avoid trouble. These people are all new to the mansion. They might be from the outer mansion, they might be here to watch the show, or they might be from the Myriad Clan sect. As he spoke, he pointed out some white dots. These people have been to and from the city gate area a few times in the past 2 days. They went out and came back. I don't know if they sent a message or not, but they're being heavily monitored. Zhu Tiandao nodded. They've covered the city gate. They've arrived, but they can only cover half of the city at the moment. They've covered the north and east directions, but nothing else. The old lady continued, these 2 days, we've been using up a lot of energy. You'll have to spend a lot of money. Zhu Tiandao smiled. It's not a big deal. It's just a small amount of money. Su Yu's few sets of cultivation techniques were easily earned back. The few elders laughed. With the super sensing jade out, many things became much easier. The old lady surnamed Hu quickly said, look, another Ling Yun has entered. Zhu Tiandao took a look and very quickly, that spot was marked with a black dot. The old woman smiled and said, after this, we have to focus on investigating these people. Especially those who are hiding their strength. Regardless of whether they are from the Myriad Clan sect, we have to pay attention to them. Those who are hiding their strength are most likely not good people. Zhu Tiandao smiled and watched happily. Awesome. This supersensing jade was really awesome. Unfortunately, its coverage area was too small. If it could cover the entire human realm, then it would be amazing. What Myriad Clan cult? What Myriad Clan? Whoever sneaked in and discovered it instantly, the old woman said regretfully. There should have been one in the past. Perhaps the human realm has such a mirror to monitor the human realm. The sensing jade was modified based on some of the discoveries in the ruins. Sometimes, I wonder how glorious the human race was during that period. Why did they enter the era of the apocalypse in the end? The induction jade and the induction mirror were all modified based on some of the discoveries in the ruins. If they could make the induction jade that could cover the entire capital today, what about the glorious era? Did the human realm have a mirror that could monitor the world? Zhu Tiandao sighed as well. The ancient era was still glorious. I'm afraid we won't be able to make this thing now. Covering the entire capital took us decades of effort. We invested so much money, that we can even make a few heaven-grade weapons. Energy and money were all trivial matters. During the research process, accidents often happened. A few years ago, an Earth-rank weapon forging master was killed by an explosion. Zhu Tiandao didn't come back to his senses for a few days. An Earth-rank weapon forging master was a true master. The price of being killed by an explosion was far beyond imagination. Zhao Tianbing was only an Earth-rank weapon forging master. After sighing for a while, Zhu Tiandao quickly said, "No mountains, seas, sun, and moon have appeared yet?" "Not yet. Focus on monitoring." Zhu Tiandao quickly said, "These guys won't appear now, but once things change, they will definitely appear. After monitoring, we must not lose sight of our targets. Keep an eye on them. Kill those that can be killed in secret. If not, drag them out of the city and kill them. 100 Path Pavilion, prepare to activate when we return. Be prepared to attack at any time. Teachers, please work hard. At the critical moment, you must also make a move." Zhu Tiandao said faintly, "Daming Manor does not interfere in matters, but, we cannot allow these fellows to threaten the safety of Daming Manor. Contact that brat of mine at any time. If anything happens, immediately ask the Great Han King for help and properly report to the first stage of the search realm. Forget about not doing anything. Allowing the experts of the myriad clans to gather at Daming Manor. What intentions do you have?" The elders couldn't help but laugh. "You want to cause trouble for them again?" Zhu Tiandao chuckled. "It's not that I'm thinking about it again, it's that there's nothing I can do about it. I'm very dissatisfied with the policies these fellows have been carrying out recently. Suyu doesn't know the situation, so I can't be bothered to tell him so that he won't get angry. With the few cultivation techniques that he came up with, he's a researcher. Logically speaking, he should have been demoted to a senior researcher a long time ago. There hasn't been any movement at all in the search realm. Including the opportunity to cast his body, Suyu is about to break through, but there wasn't any movement at the other side either. When the 10,000 Literature Sutra was released back then, it rewarded the Zhou and Yuan families with 1 casting spot each. On Suyu's side, no one mentioned it at all. Zhu Tiandao shook his head and said, "Suyu doesn't know about these things. If he knew, he might just cause a ruckus again. The 8 great clans are in charge of the exploratory stage and are pretending to be deaf and mute. Do they really think that no one will know if they don't say anything? The people of the War God Hall are all looking at this as a joke." The old woman surnamed Hu frowned and said, "They didn't mention the matter of casting the body." I thought they did, but Su Yu rejected it himself. They didn't mention it. Zhu Tiandao said helplessly, if they did mention it, then they won't say it. The key is that they didn't mention it. Forget it, Su Yu doesn't need it, but we can't just admit it like this. After this, we'll report them. The great Han King just came out of seclusion and went into seclusion again. We'll get him out later and throw a few cultivation techniques at his face. Let's see what he'll say. The elders laughed again. The great Han King knows what you're thinking. He'll skin you alive. He's in charge of seeking enlightenment realm, but he goes into seclusion all the time. Zhu Tiandao said unhappily. Skin me alive? What's wrong with me? Since we're not going into seclusion for him, we'll look for him once Su Yu gets a cultivation technique. Oh right, for the promotion of the primordial spirit enlightenment art this time, let's go to the War God Hall and see if there's anything the War God Hall has to say. Is the King of Silkworm Exterminators also not in charge? It's fine, Zhu Tiandao chuckled, if he's not in charge, he can go back and put the time in the latrine pit. My father said so. The few of them laughed again. Zhu Tiandao spoke briefly for a while before he quickly said, teachers, please put in more effort. It's been troublesome these few days. Tomorrow is the key. Once the matter is successful, no one in Daming Manor will dare to covet it for at least 10 years. The few of them nodded heavily. Being able to enjoy peace in Daming Manor was what they hoped to see. At this moment, the densely packed dots also caused people's scalps to go numb. The elders quickly recorded the data. This place had become the core of Daming Manor. Monitoring the world. Not only did they have to keep an eye on the outsiders, but they also had to keep an eye on the experts already in the city. They had to observe their whereabouts and whether their recent movements were inconsistent with the previous ones. Only these civilized masters could handle such data processing. Zhu Tiandao took another look and quickly left. He sighed. The Zhu family's decades of effort had not been wasted. It was just that the matter was not good to spread. These people were all nameless heroes, and the matter of the sensing jade could not be spread. Otherwise, the surveillance of the Tiandu mansion. If the experts knew, they would probably rebel. Just as he was leaving, in the research institute, Su Yu frowned again and again. The Calamity Divine text jumped a few times. This Daming Manor was becoming more and more mysterious. Was he being monitored? What was so powerful? I have to be more careful in the future. It's best to get some anti-surveillance treasures out. Even the sun and moon array is useless. No wonder old Zhu is so confident. He will definitely be able to find the enemy. Tomorrow. It's my turn to perform. Su Yu no longer thought about it. If he was being monitored, so be it. As long as he got used to it, in the Great Xia Manor, a certain someone seemed to be constantly monitoring people everywhere. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1244. 1244 Chapter 294, The First Signs of the Phenomenon, Monthly 1. P.S. Sorry for waking up late. February 24th. Tiandu Manor, Battle Dragon Stage. Early in the morning, there were people rushing over one after another. Today, Su Yu was here to teach the primordial spirit awakening technique, while at the same time casting a body and breaking through the air. Battle Dragon Stage. It was said that in the past, the great Ming King and an invincible member of the dragon race fought here and defeated an invincible member of the dragon race. After that, they established the great Ming Manor here. As for whether the rumors were true or not, perhaps only the elders of the founding generation knew. Battle Dragon Stage was a huge platform. At this moment it was surrounded by the Heavenly Dao Army and even the Iron Cavalry. Several Shanghai realm experts were checking the sky and the ground to prevent traps from being set. The crowd outside grew larger and larger. Around Battle Dragon stage, apart from an empty passage, the rest of the place was filled with people. The crowd was boiling with noise. Suyu isn't here yet. What exactly does Suyu look like? I didn't get a clear look at his appearance in the video last time. Is the primordial spirit enlightenment art expensive or not? Do you know what kind of blood essence he used to cast his body? At the very least, he needs the blood essence of a god and a devil. Then does he need to advance his willpower or just his physical body to advance? Who knows? The discussions continued. It was a habit of the people of Daming Prefecture to watch the excitement and see how rare it was. There were old people and children in the crowd, and most of them were experienced. They even brought their own small horses and made preparations to stand guard. Every time a genius broke through, it was a festival and a gathering. However, in the past, there were some geniuses who broke through, but it was actually nothing interesting. They broke through so easily, and no one could tell what was going on. Of course, that wasn't important. What was important was that everyone was lively enough. The Heavenly Tao army once again checked, a commander-level powerhouse shouted, "Everyone, as usual, do not squeeze into the Battle Dragon platform. Researcher SU is a top expert in the field of research. If the myriad clans want to kill him, then do it quickly. Once you get close, it will be very dangerous. Do not squeeze into the forbidden circle, or else the Heavenly Tao army will take action. Don't worry, who doesn't understand this? Whoever squeezes in will be a bad person." That's right. Lord Lu, are you familiar with Suyu? Researcher Su is someone from Daming Manor. Why don't you tell him that it's cheaper to spread the cultivation technique in Daming Manor? After all, we're family, right? The commander was speechless and shouted, "Cut the crap, isn't it cheaper enough?" Then it's cheaper, it's better. The group of people laughed and laughed. Who didn't want to spend less money? It would be even better if it was cheaper. As they were speaking, in the distance, someone laughed loudly and said, "What everyone said makes sense. I've forgotten about this point. Since I've entered the Daming Manor, I'll treat it as a place of return to my fellow countrymen. From today onwards, the cultivation techniques of my Primordial Spirit Research Institute will all be 20% off in the Daming Manor. Those that I bought previously and those that I spent more money on can go to the institute or the exchange agency to get them back. I'll subsidize the extra money." The voice was very loud. Countless people turned their heads to look and saw a young man riding a golden demon on the other side of the passageway. He was extremely dazzling as he walked towards the Battle Dragon stage. Suyu rode on the Swan Ni, and when he saw everyone looking at him, he smiled and said, "I am Suyu. The matter of the cultivation method being discounted will be completed in a few days. In addition, I have been influenced by my father since I was young and worshipped the soldiers. The soldiers of the Daming Manor will receive a 30% discount for the exchange of cultivation methods." At this moment, everyone finally knew who was speaking. Discount? Was it really cheap? At this moment, the few old men who had joked with the commander earlier suddenly became overjoyed and shouted loudly, "Master Su is righteous. Researcher Su is magnanimous. As expected of the genius of our Daming Manor. What a good person. The ones that were exchanged previously can actually be returned, and the ones that were eaten can even be spat out. This magnanimity isn't ordinary at all." The group of people were excited. A 20% discount was already quite a substantial amount. For example, the highest priced version of the convergence technique wasn't too expensive at the moment. It was only 50 merit points, but if 50 merit points were to be counted as money, it would be at least 1 to 2 million. By giving a 20% discount, they would be able to save a lot of money in an instant. An old man said excitedly, "Master Su, that military discount can only be given to those who are in active service or those who are retired." This person was much older than Suyu, but calling him a master was not awkward at all. He was a master to begin with. Suyu laughed loudly and said, it's the same. Cultivation techniques are not for making money. The fee is to let everyone have a threshold. Only when they know that they have spent money and that they have spent money can everyone value and pay attention to it. Of course, the research and development fees have to be supported, and the price cannot be too low. If it's too low, the researcher will not have the heart to study it, and the cultivation technique will not be updated. That's right, that's right. Having obtained Su Yu's assurance, the old man was overjoyed. Obviously, it was possible that he was a retired soldier. At this moment, Su Yu also rode on the Swan Ni and arrived in front of the large platform that was 2 to 3 meters above the ground. And at this moment, Su Yu had just stepped onto the platform when figures descended from the sky. Lord Manor Head. Manor Head. General. Looking at the experts that appeared one after another, everyone immediately cried out in surprise. It was a feast for the eyes. There were really many experts protecting the Tao. Looking at Su Yu again, it was truly incredible. These old men did not say much. Their appearance shook the surroundings for a moment before they quickly continued to fly into the void. Zhu Tiandao did not leave. At this moment, his face was filled with smiles. He laughed out loud and said, "I also heard what Su Yu said just now. The fortune of Daming Manor." Su Yu had promoted the cultivation technique and the price was already extremely low. Now, he has given a huge discount to Daming Manor. I hope that the soldiers of Daming Manor will not let down researcher Su's painstaking efforts. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1245. 1245 Chapter 294, The Beginning of the Phenomenon, Monthly 2. Zhu Tiandao said one sentence and then quickly said, "Today, Su Yu publicly preached the Tao, which was also specially invited by me. It was to answer questions and to demonstrate his cultivation method to everyone, so that everyone can see clearly, understand, and better cultivate." Zhu Tiandao smiled and said, "Su Yu's strength may not be strong, but the cultivation method was deduced by him, and he has cultivated it to the peak, reaching perfection. I hope that everyone will cherish this opportunity, and hope that more Su Yu will appear in the great Ming mansion." As he spoke, his tone changed. He shouted, "I know that some people are treacherous. They can't stand to see the good of the human race, and they can't stand to see the good of Daming Manor. Daming Manor has never meddled with these things. We have our own, but the myriad clan cult, everyone wants to beat them up. If they encounter them, they will definitely be killed. Recently, the myriad clan cult has hung up on Su Yu's mission. The reward is as high as 1,000,000 points. I know that today, there may be some people who are lurking here. It doesn't matter. I'm just telling you that in Daming Manor, if you attack Su Yu, you will be making an enemy out of the Daming King and the Zhu family of Daming Manor. You will not rest until one of you is dead." Zhu Tiandao's voice spread in all directions. He shouted, "The Zhu family has been running the manor for more than 300 years. They have protected an area, and the people are living in peace and happiness. Some vermin can forget about destroying the tranquility of Daming Manor. Today is also a warning to those traitors who want to kill Su Yu. Think carefully. Deterrence, a statement. The Zhu family protects Su Yu. If something happens to Su Yu, they will not rest until one of them is dead." It was rare for the invincible family to make such a statement. At this moment, Zhu Tiandao gave such an attitude in public. On the stage, Su Yu said in a clear voice, "Thank you, Lord Manor Head." Of course. The two of them conversed for a while. The crowd below the stage fell silent for a moment before they quickly cheered loudly. Wasn't it great to have such a ruler? Protecting geniuses and protecting the common people. As for Su Yu, he did not say much. His voice was loud as he said, "Today, I will be giving a lecture on the primordial spirit awakening technique, opening 126 yuan apertures. According to the level, it is a mid-tier heaven rank cultivation technique. It has 90 more apertures than the common 1000 June technique. Of course, after cultivating it, its strength will not be comparable to the 1000 June technique. Not everyone can cultivate a heaven-tier cultivation technique. It is very difficult, lacking in talent and resources. Often, after opening 20 to 30 apertures, one will be unable to move forward. It does not possess universality. Without a universal cultivation technique, how can it be passed down? On the stage, Suyu was not in a hurry to cast his body. He said loudly, "Then why do I still want to promote the primordial spirit awakening technique? Because it's simple. The cultivation speed is fast." He looked at the crowd below and saw many people. There were strong and weak. Suyu's apertures moved, and 14 apertures lit up on his body. It was extremely dazzling. Everyone, who has opened these 14 apertures. These are the 14 apertures of the first level of the primordial spirit awakening technique. There aren't too many hidden apertures. I believe that someone has opened them. He revealed them very clearly as the 14 apertures lit up. The myriad stone realms fused aperture could also be divided, depending on your needs. Seeing his 14 apertures light up, the crowd was slightly noisy. Soon, someone shouted, "I've opened them." With that said, 14 apertures lit up as well. Suyu said with a smile, "Big brother, I'll teach you how to connect the apertures and easily circulate the cultivation method. Try opening the 14 apertures of the first level of the primordial spirit awakening technique and absorb Yuan Qi to see how fast it is." This person was overjoyed and hurriedly squeezed out of the crowd and walked to the front. As for Suyu, he did not hide it. The 14 acupoints were lit up and connected one by one, allowing everyone to see it clearly. Suyu said with a smile, "There's no harm in telling everyone about the first level. Of course, if you really open your acupoints, it's best to describe it according to the cultivation method." Below the stage, the middle-aged man followed Suyu's actions and quickly began to connect the acupoints. This person was in the 1000 June realm, the 1000 June 9 levels. However, he had opened quite a number of acupuncture points. It was a coincidence that he had opened the 14 acupuncture points of the first level. With Suyu's demonstration, it was only the connection of the acupuncture points. He quickly learned it. After a few minutes, the 14 acupuncture points suddenly flashed. In the blink of an eye, he had completed the first level. Suyu said with a smile, "Big brother, you can try to absorb Yuan Qi now and open the acupuncture points to see." This person did not hesitate and quickly began to absorb Yuan Qi. The surrounding cultivators at the 1000 June realm and above could feel it. In the blink of an eye, wisps of Yuan Qi gathered towards him. The middle-aged man was overjoyed as he said in shock, "So fast, it's at least 3 times faster than before." 3 times? Suyu was stunned for a moment. How could it be so fast? I thought it was a trick. He turned his head and thought, he roughly understood. This fellow didn't cultivate a heaven rank cultivation technique in the past. Instead, he cultivated an ordinary yellow rank or mystic rank cultivation technique. That speed was naturally very slow. Heaven rank cultivation techniques were much faster than these weak cultivation techniques. The great Xia manners who house cultivation speed was only 10%. That was because the cultivation technique he cultivated in the past was already strong. Perhaps it was a heaven rank cultivation technique given by the Xia family, which was 10% stronger than cultivation techniques of the same rank. As for the middle-aged man, even if he cultivated an ordinary heaven rank cultivation technique, he would still be able to increase his cultivation speed by a lot. The surrounding people were all shocked. As for Suyu, he was also a little absent-minded at this moment. He had always felt that it was true to increase his opening speed, but it was already not bad to double it. However, he had forgotten one point. Or rather, many people had forgotten one point. In the past, the people had all cultivated yellow and black rank cultivation techniques. To them, cultivating heaven-rank cultivation techniques had already improved a lot. The body-strengthening technique was still based on the heaven-rank foundation. If it was improved again, then to them, the speed of improvement was more than double. Su Yu was not the only one who thought of it. At this moment, Zhu Tiandao was also slightly stunned. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1246. 1246 Chapter 294, The Beginning of the Phenomenon, Monthly 3. This was not a request. It was an ordinary citizen. He knew this. He instantly thought of many things and came to a sudden realization. He had forgotten about it. Or rather, he had never experienced the speed of cultivating a low-grade cultivation technique. At this moment, hearing the other party say this, he was slightly stunned. He had improved so much. They had always thought from the perspective of the higher-ups. The people they saw had at least cultivated the God of War technique that had opened 72 apertures. As for those that were even lower, they were not too sure how fast their cultivation speed was. Today, they knew. As for the middle-aged man below the stage, he was tearing up at that moment. Yuan Qi was constantly gathering towards him. At that moment, an aperture that was about to open suddenly trembled slightly. At the next moment, a light burst out and it was opened. The middle-aged man was overjoyed. He shouted, "So fast! I've opened an aperture. I originally thought that it would take at least 10 days to open it, but it's actually opened now. This cultivation technique. Master Su, when will it be fully promoted? I must buy a set." The surrounding people were also shocked. Someone whispered, and someone shouted, "That's my neighbor, Old Chen. Old Chen, you didn't take the money to tell a lie, did you?" The middle-aged man scolded, "F***CKU. It's not my turn to take the money. There must be someone who has opened the 14 apertures. It's not too difficult to see them. Those who have practiced the Qianjun formula, the saber of the racing tiger, and the earthquake fist should have all opened them. If you don't believe me, you can try it yourself." This time, the crowd was in a commotion. Someone shouted, "Old Lu, have you cultivated it before? Try it and see. Hurry up. Old Huang, you do it." On the stage, Su Yu smiled and did not interrupt. Very soon, there were people below the stage who had also opened these 14 apertures. Previously, they were too lazy to join in the fun. Now, they began to try it one after another. They were all a little excited. It was that powerful. It was not difficult to connect the apertures. Soon, 7 or 8 people successfully connected the apertures. In the next moment, these people began to absorb Yuan Qi. Following that, they kept shouting, "Damn, it's really fast. 3 times. I think it's 5 times faster. What kind of cultivation technique is this? If it's so powerful, doesn't that mean that I can open an aperture every few days?" It was a sensation. Not just one person, many people said so. Clearly, this cultivation technique was accelerating extremely quickly. And on the stage, Su Yu said with a smile, "Everyone, the reason why the speed is increasing so quickly is not entirely due to the primordial spirit awakening technique. This is only the first level. The reason why it's fast is because this is a heaven-rank cultivation technique. In fact, if it's the first level, it's about 10% faster than a heaven-rank cultivation technique of the same level. If it's the second level, it's 20% faster. Once you cultivate to the 9th level and open your aperture again, the speed will be twice that of a cultivation technique of the same level. At this moment, you can open your aperture and cultivate the aperture synthesis technique. Very soon, you will be able to complete the cultivation of the aperture synthesis technique and quickly step into the myriad stone realm." Su Yu did some calculations. He smiled and said, "To open 126 apertures from the critical moment, and then open 18 apertures of the fusion technique, 144 apertures, it will probably take more than a year to 2 years. Of course, it will consume a lot of yuan qi. Everyone needs to be prepared for this. Even though he said so, no one cared at the moment. Everyone was ecstatic. Heaven rank cultivation technique? We don't have it. We only have the yellow and mystic ranks. We don't know how fast the heaven rank cultivation technique is, but we do know that the cultivation technique is really fast. Below the stage. It wasn't just those people. Some of them tried it silently, and they were also shocked. Outside the city. Some people received voice transmissions at this moment. The primordial spirit awakening technique is too terrifying. It's 3 to 5 times faster than the yellow rank cultivation technique. It's verified on the spot, and it's definitely true. Awakening is even easier. There are people on the scene who have instantly awakened. In 1 to 2 years, one can enter 10,000 stones. After cultivating the awakening technique, one can create a heaven rank warrior at the 9th level of the 10,000 stone realm in 2 to 3 years. Sir, it's too terrifying. In the future, the soldiers of the various prefectures might all cultivate this heaven rank cultivation technique at the 9th level of the 10,000 stone realm. Sir, once this cultivation technique is spread, the strength of a human realm warrior will definitely soar. At this moment, all of the experts received a message from their subordinates, and they were all shocked. One person might have been mistaken, but since they said so, it was clear that the cultivation technique that Su Yu was promoting today was simply too shocking. It wasn't just these people. Some of the envoys stationed in the Great Ming Mansion were also using voice transmission talismans to relay the news back to the Great Ming Mansion. They immediately sent people to discuss it. They were discussing the matter of the cultivation technique's dissemination. The results were too good. They had also seen that many people were present at the scene. They saw the ordinary people absorbing large amounts of yuan qi in the blink of an eye. The efficiency and speed at which this cultivation technique absorbed yuan qi was truly too powerful. The conversion rate was also high. They were all people with unique foresight and could immediately see how great the benefits were. As such, in the future, just as the scouts of the myriad clans had said, the human realm would be a group of 9th level 10,000 stone realm cultivators who had cultivated heaven-ranked cultivation techniques. Even if they managed to break through a little, they would at least be at the 9th level 10,000 stone realm and have 14 apertures, their explosive strength would be close to the strength of 200 apertures. This kind of 9th level 10,000 stone realm was not inferior to those who had opened 36 apertures and had 9 bodies of the 8th or 9th level of the soaring heaven realm. Everyone could cross realms to fight. At this moment, the clamor below the battle dragon platform was incessant. Master Su, when are you going to spread the cultivation technique? Master Su, try opening all of your apertures and absorb some yuan qi to broaden our horizons. This all-out effort, how fast is the absorption of yuan qi? The clamor was incessant. And Su Yu also smiled. Well, he did not expect the effect to be so good. Su Yu also did not say much. The next moment, 126 apertures open, smiled and said, then I demonstrate, show everyone. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1247. 1247 Chapter 294, The Phenomenon Appeared, Monthly 4. With that said, the surrounding yuan qi rapidly surged towards him. Daming Manor's yuan qi was still rather rich. At that moment, a large amount of yuan qi swept over. It was extremely fast. Su Yu did not absorb it. In the blink of an eye, he condensed a drop of yuan qi liquid in front of him. Everyone watching was dumbfounded. If this cultivation succeeds, if we don't work, we can condense yuan qi liquid every day and sell yuan qi liquid to make a fortune. I'll have to expend a large amount of yuan qi, everyone, Daming Manor won't be emptied out by us in the future, right? Who knows? I want to cultivate it anyway. Su Yu went all out. The speed at which he opened the Essence Soul Enlightenment technique to cultivate was too fast. As for Su Yu, he quickly said, as for the cultivation technique promotion, if everything goes smoothly, Daming Manor will promote it first next month. As a researcher of Daming Manor, I will naturally give priority to Daming Manor. As for the price, it won't be too expensive. The primordial spirit scripture is actually much more precious than this cultivation technique. I will only set the price at 100 merit points. As for the primordial spirit enlightenment technique, the price should be around 80 merit points. With a 20% discount from Daming Manor, it might be around 60 merit points. Su Yu said in a clear voice, and the military exchange should be around 20 merit points. In addition, some academies can negotiate to buy and distribute it to their students. Many new students don't have money. For example, the basic version of the Art War God is distributed for FR. The dissemination of the academy is all bought and distributed by Academite. This can also be negotiated. The goal is to spread the primordial spirit enlightenment technique, to benefit everyone. Su Yu smiled and said, this is only the beginning. I believe that in the future, the Primordial Spirit Research Institute will release more cultivation methods to satisfy everyone's cultivation. It will make everyone stronger and make everyone spend less time to become stronger. Su Yu's voice was very loud. Including the cultivation techniques of the God Closing Aperture, as well as the Primordial Spirit Aperture that can directly cross the Origin Opening Realm, we are all deducing. Perhaps we will have some results very soon. In a few years, cultivating at the age of 10, 12 years old, 15 years old, soaring into the sky at the age of 15, Ling Yun at the age of 20, and mountains and seas at the age of 30 will become the norm. In the human realm, everyone is a mountain and sea. It is hard to say whether the sun and moon will last forever. Mountains and seas, everyone can succeed. Su Yu's laughter spread in all directions. Believe me, believe in the Primordial Spirit Research Institute. Today, the promotion of the Primordial Spirit Enlightenment technique is one of the reasons. The second reason is that today, I want to cast my body into the sky. I have already vaguely discovered the location of the Primordial Spirit Aperture. I hope that today, I can use this opportunity to directly discover the Primordial Spirit Aperture. Once I succeed, all cultivators in the world will benefit. Manor Head Zhu and the others protected my Tao because of this matter. The reason why I chose to publicly cast my body is to let everyone see if there is any hope. After Su Yu said that, he casually threw out an arena and quickly enlarged it. Su Yu smiled and said, I won't show you the specific process of casting the body. I'm afraid that I used too much demon essence blood and everyone will be jealous. Ha ha ha. The audience burst into laughter. They didn't care too much about this, as long as they saw the result. All of them were a little excited. Could one discover the Primordial Spirit Aperture? Just how powerful was Su Yu? And at this moment, Su Yu had entered the arena and activated the array formation. The people outside could roughly see his figure, but they could not see him clearly. Su Yu took a deep breath and sat down cross-legged. Without wasting any time, he quickly took out a large ball. It was very large, and it wrapped around him. Following that, he took out some demonic essence blood. He wanted to fool people so that they would not notice anything later. At the next moment, Su Yu began to cast Iron 72. A large amount of Heaven Yuan Qi was absorbed by him from the ball. And at that moment, in the dark, Niu Bidao quickly transmitted his voice to the sun and moon, quickly make preparations. Once Su Yu successfully casts his body, he will immediately activate the phenomenon. He has to last longer. According to the original plan, the phenomenon will gather bit by bit. It has to be realistic. He must not let others see that it is fake. Niu Bidao was somewhat cautiously excited. He had already attracted the attention of many people. Now that Suyu had mentioned the primordial spirit aperture, those fellows from the Myriad Clan sect were probably itching to come over and take a look, right? They were also somewhat worried and hesitant. They probably did not dare to rashly come over and were all watching. Very good, I'll give you all something to add. Daming manner was prepared. As for Suyu, he quickly absorbed the Heaven Yuan Qi. According to his judgment, the first casting was not that fast. Even if the Heaven Yuan Qi was sufficient, it would still take a few days. Of course, he had actually completed a portion of the body casting in the past 2 days. It was all for the sake of completing the first casting today. In order to be faster, Suyu did not mind making a bigger commotion. At this moment, in his Sea of Will, 180 divine orifices were shining. As Suyu cast his body, he connected 180 divine orifices. He felt that after connecting the 180 God apertures, there might be some changes in the Yuan aperture today. The Yuan aperture might really appear. 145. 155. One God aperture after another began to connect. The 360 Yuan apertures turned into 9 apertures, and at this moment, they were also flickering with dazzling light. Suyu felt a huge pressure. The pressure from his sea of consciousness and his body. As the God apertures continued to connect, he felt as if something was opening up. 179 divine apertures. In the blink of an eye, there was only one aperture that was unconnected. It can't be that my willpower has advanced to the sky realm first, right? Suyu thought about it and felt that it did not matter. The lack of divine runes was actually not a big deal. It was not without benefits if one's willpower had advanced to the sky realm ahead of time. One could rapidly complete the casting of one's body at the moment of advancement. Having one's willpower soar into the sky would also give one quite a number of benefits. One's body would have the opportunity to rapidly absorb Yuan Qi. The next moment, 180 God aperture, all lit up, quickly related. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1248. 1248 Chapter 294, The First Sign of the Phenomenon, Monthly 5. The connection was successful. And just as Suyu's connection was successful, the sky suddenly changed color. The wind rose. A gale blew past. In the sky, a myriad of colors appeared. Suddenly, rain fell. Immediately after, the surrounding trees grew rapidly. In the sky, wisps of flames appeared, and the earth shook. Metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. The 5 elements had become one. At this moment, the 5 elements had officially become one. Ever since the great destruction of the ancient era, the 5 elements had become one for the first time. It was a natural phenomenon. No one was allowed to become one. Rumble. In the sky above, the sound of thunder could be heard. It was as if something was paying attention to this place. At this moment, all the people felt a sense of oppression. They looked up at the sky, and were all dumbfounded. What was going on? In the dark. Niu Baidao blinked and sent a voice transmission. You guys even made this. Buy one, get one free. That was just what he said. At this moment, Niu Baidao felt an invisible pressure. Was this a real heaven and earth phenomenon? Niu Baidao swallowed his saliva. It couldn't be. It had only just begun. Suyu hadn't cast his body yet. He hadn't entered the sky yet. Moreover, this wasn't right either. He had never seen such a strange phenomenon before. In the sky, flames rose as if they had appeared out of thin air. The rain fell and only concentrated on the battle dragon platform. The trees continued to grow crazily. The weapons trembled. Some people's weapons kept on trembling, emitting a vibrating sound. Beside the platform, Zhu Tiandao's expression changed again and again. He transmitted his voice to Niu Baidao, "Did you do this?" Bulsh *t. Niu Baidao cursed in a low voice. "I didn't do it. I don't know how to do this either." The gale was getting stronger and stronger. The gale whistled past. Gale. It surrounded Su Yu and the small stage. What is this? At this moment, the people below the stage were also dumbfounded. Someone held onto his weapon and didn't allow it to fly away. He shouted, "Man or head, what's going on?" Zhu Tiandao shouted, "Quiet, don't make a sound. There's nothing going on. A breakthrough in the normal phenomenon." "Normal your grandpa." Everyone was dumbfounded. What nonsense was this? How could a breakthrough in the sky be like this? Are you joking with us? At the same time, outside the city, the experts looked at the Sky Capital Manor, frowning and not saying a word. What the heck was this? At this moment, they had also seen and felt it. They saw the fire in the sky, saw the flashing of lightning, and felt a faint sense of oppression. What was this? Heaven and earth phenomenon. Breaking through the sky, there's actually a heaven and earth phenomenon. It's only just begun, and you haven't broken through yet? It's only just begun, and there's already such a phenomenon. Shock. What was this? What kind of concept was this? There was already such a phenomenon at the beginning of the sky, didn't that mean that it would be even more intense in the future? And just as they had expected, the flames became even more vivid. Water and fire fused together, and rain and flames existed at the same time. Outside the city, the experts couldn't help but wonder what was going on. Should they go and take a look? This was too shocking. The pressure of heaven and earth began to gradually spread. Was this a heaven-bestowed opportunity or a heaven's punishment? At this moment, numerous voice transmissions spread in all directions, quickly transmitting to the various manors. Su Yu has broken through, and the phenomenon of heaven and earth has appeared. Wind, fire, lightning, trees growing crazily, and weapons trembling. It's just the beginning. Su Yu hasn't broken through yet, and it seems like he's still brewing. My lord, I can't understand it. The sun and moon experts are starting to set up a defensive line. News began to spread like wildfire. Outside the city, the expressions of the experts changed. What exactly was going on? At this moment, sun and moon experts were beginning to rise from Su Yu's area, and they were setting up a defensive line. Should we go take a look? Some people were tempted. Such a situation hadn't happened in hundreds of years. Should they go take a look? With such a phenomenon, there might be even greater changes in the future. It would be fine if the sun and moon didn't stop them from observing from a distance. However, with the sun and moon blocking them, they could set up a defensive line. If they continued to observe from a distance, they would be discovered. It was much safer to observe from a close distance with the naked eye. Why don't we sneak in and take a look from a distance? The sun and moon don't have the time to bother with us now. Some people were tempted. Some people decided to take action. Let's go and take a look.